Hello, everybody. Welcome to the WrestlePurists podcast. We're back here, September 8th, 2022. Hollywood Hangman Adam Pierce is here with Monty and Big AO making his return. And today we have
the biggest AO, nigga, the biggest AO.
Perhaps. And we have a new member here today, Monty. We have Alexia making her first appearance on the WrestlePurists podcast. A friend of ours, a friend of the channel, but she's never ever actually been on the pod except today. So I want everybody to give her a warm welcome. I think she's gonna do great. Alexia,
hello,
talk to me. How are you? Yeah, how are you?
How are you? I'm good.
I'm doing great. I'm happy to have you here. I'm really excited about this. Right off the bat, introduce yourself. When did you get into pro wrestling? What's your journey with this medium?
Oh my god. Okay, so it's kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
So it was whenever I used to live in Mexico, my dad got me a bootleg version of the 15-year Raw anniversary in Spanish. And I remember I watched it and I saw a couple of like the little clips and stuff. I had no idea what it was, but he was like, he sat me down and he made me watch it with him. I don't even remember like that much about it, but I remember I just got like hooked. And then like fast forward a couple years later, like I got my first Nintendo DS and everything, and he got me like the SmackDown versus Raw, which was like pretty much what got me into it, like that little video game. And then I just started watching it. It caught my attention when I was little, and ever since then I was just like, all right, might as well. There has been some times though where I just kind of like there was a period in time when I was like in high school that I just kind of fell out of it because I don't know. I guess like that's like a thing.
Yeah.
It's
It's funny. It's funny you say that because like most people you talk to, they fall in love with wrestling as a kid, and then like they kind of outgrow it at some point, and it seems to sometimes coincide with them finding out like it's not real. You know what I mean? And wrestling just not being cool amongst your peers and that kind of thing. And that happened with me, where it was just kind of like at some point, you know. I found out wrestling doesn't work when I was like about 12 years old. I knew it, but like that was when I like actually like knew the secrets of how wrestling works because I would like look it up on the internet. And shortly afterwards, I just stopped liking it. And it was around high school, just like you, like, so where it's just kind of like I got into other stuff, you know, and like I kept some tabs and I would hear about stuff, but I didn't like get back into wrestling until like going into college, basically. But the way you explain it, it seems like that timeline. The Raw 15th anniversary DVD, that came out in 2007, and the DS Raw versus SmackDown, that would have been maybe a couple years after or around the same time. So that's interesting. You've been a fan now at least for like a decade, basically, at least.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's crazy.
I didn't like actually start watching like other wrestling companies because whenever I was like younger, like all I knew was like WWE that existed.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like I forgot what it was, what specific match it was, but it was a Prince Devitt match that I watched. It was whenever I got into New Japan. I was a big Prince Devitt girl, big Bullet Club girl. So then that got me hooked into Ring of Honor and other stuff. So yeah.
That's interesting. Alexia you're Alexia. Anna actually on her first appearance when she was talking about her journey, it was a similar thing where it was like she was big into WWE and she got in through the Shield. Anna, she says, here for my Alexia. Anna, we love you.
Love you, Anna.
Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. We miss you. Can't wait to see you again. Dev 2 does $2. First time donating. Just want to say hi. Dev, thank you so much, sir.
Hi, Dev.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Dev.
Yeah, but it's funny. She was talking about how like she got in through the Shield and stuff for a couple of years, and around the mid 2010s, she just kind of like, you know, paid attention to indie wrestling and that kind of thing. So you were into Devitt before he went to NXT? Oh shit! Look at that. That's you know why that's crazy, Monty. New Japan World was not a thing in the early 2010s. So like it was really hard. Yeah, so it was really hard to access that stuff. And I'm speaking from experience because I remember when I was falling off wrestling, it was because like the wrestling that I liked, there was not much of a way to access it. You know what I mean? Like because like I wasn't really enjoying TNA or WWE that much anymore. But I was like, yo, Ring of Honor is cool. Dragon Gate USA is cool. You know, I like what I see from New Japan and Noah. But it was like you had to be like a DVD crackhead to get access to that stuff regularly. You know, so I was like, I'm just gonna have a life actually, and just like, you know, just watch sports then instead of like paying $50 for a wrestling DVD.
That's what it was like with a lot of companies. You know,
Yeah.
Ring of Honor is obviously like the obvious one for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like in terms of it being so hard to access.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't. I feel like a lot of fans these days don't realize kind of how lucky they are with how accessible pretty much everything ever. Yeah.
Anything you want to watch, you can watch except like PWG. You know, like that's like
you
gotta wait months for the DVD because of fucking Super Dragon being, you know, outdated with how he does things. But yeah, man, like you want to watch something at an indie show, get an IWTV subscription, you got it. Or you want to just pay for it on Fight or something, boom, you can do that. You know, you want to watch Ring of Honor, there's Honor Club, there's, you know, the pay-per-view feeds, you know, and most Japanese promotions are under some type of subscription banner, whether it's, you know, the Cyber Fight Wrestle Universe, I believe it's called. You know, there's Stardom World, there's New Japan World. There's so many ways to just access the wrestling that you care about, which is it's just it's something that like was just not a thing a decade ago. So it's interesting. Alexia, were you a day one AEW fan, or were you someone who took a while to warm up to the shit?
I was a day one.
Wow. Yeah.
It's nice.
Prince Devitt fan, come on. You know?
Yeah, right.
Come on, what did you expect?
Right. You know, like most AEW fans from the first day, there were carryovers of people who were fans of the Elite and the Bullet Club and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. So yeah, I mean, with that said, there's a lot going on lately, Monty. You know, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on the screen. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I think we should just start getting into it. You know what I mean? So what do you have for me?
So as everybody obviously already knows, and he's probably waiting for us to kind of talk about and touch on, especially Big AO, judging from the live chat and the tweets we're getting today.
His silence is scary.
Shout out to the mob, bro.
Shout out to the bars, bro.
But before we even get to it, can we get some flowers in the chat for Alexia? Yo, it's the first day on the pod. Let's show some love.
Yeah, we'll do
let's show some love.
Just the usual housekeeping. If you can like, subscribe, keep the live chat popping. Super chats, of course, are always appreciated. And yeah, man, subscribe. But yeah, man, show Alexia some love in the chat.
Absolutely.
She's new, you know. We're trying to put her over.
Yep. Thank you, Anna. There we go.
Oh yeah, here we go.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is the love winner. You know?
That's what I'm talking about. Beautiful, Charlie.
Looking
forward to Charlie's first appearance on the WrestlePurists podcast. Okay, Jordan Patson.
Thanks, Jordan.
All right, Monty.
Well, that's the last one.
The Pro Wrestling Podcast. Thank you. Is it time, Monty?
Right. Yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so
before we get into it, Monty, okay. Hangman spoke to me privately earlier today. He told me that he wasn't going to be able to make the podcast, and I said, why? This CM Punk stuff is just weighing so heavily on his spirit, and I begged him, I pleaded, I was like, hey man, bro, we need you on this podcast. The people want you. But this is what Hangman said to me. To read out to everybody. Excuse me.
No.
Oh God.
It's pretty emotional. Hollywood Hangman Adam Pearce sent this to me. He wanted me to read this out to the WrestlePurists Galaxy. He said, "Hello, it is me, Hollywood Hangman Adam Pearce. I shared this letter with AO so he could explain why I'm not here today. I don't want anyone to worry because I am okay, or at least I think I will be. The truth is, I'm tired of Big AO always killing me on these podcasts. Always shmoney dancing on my grave, always pissing on my grave, always killing me in the debates. I'm tired of the Big AO section always shitting on me. I'm just a broke ass, bitch ass nigga with no bitches. I cannot compete with AO. It was foolish for me to ever believe that I could compete with AO. AO is so much more handsome than me. He makes so much more money than me. He is 3 feet taller than me. All my bitches wish that they were AO's bitches. And even though I'm older, listen. And even though I'm older than AO, I look at him like a big brother. And until I can make my big bro proud, I am officially announcing my resignation from WrestlePurists. Thank you for the WrestlePurists Galaxy for all your support. And thank you, Big AO, for reading this out. Thankfully, it didn't have to go that way. and I was able to get Hangman on this podcast today. But I just felt like if it was weighing that heavily on his spirit, that it should have been shared.
Ayo, thank you for that very creative fan fiction.
It wasn't fan fiction. It's not creative. It's complete. It's the complete truth, bro.
Listen. Sometimes complete fabrication can be very compelling and easily agreeable and something that people want to believe. And speaking of which, the Young Bucks claimed that they entered CM Punk's lot. No, I'm not gonna. Monty, let's just get into it. Yeah, no. Let's just get into it.
Okay, so everybody already knows who's watching this. I assume that CM Punk completely went off at the AEW All Out Media Scrum.
Absolutely. Let's get these super chats going. By the way, let's get these super chats going, everybody.
Yeah, of course, always. We love super chats.
If you'd so please like, obviously.
Yeah, Punk was going off on Colt Cabana, Hangman Adam Page, and the Young Bucks. I don't think he actually said anything about Omega. Of course, he mentioned the EVPs, but it sounded more like stuff directed at the Bucks, to be honest. And yeah, then afterwards, apparently a fight broke out in CM Punk's locker room. People have been suspended. The list of suspensions is Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, CM Punk, Ace Steel, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, and Michael Nakazawa. There is two sides to the story. Both are very, very different. Hilariously different, in fact, to be honest. The Elite have been stripped of the Trios titles. CM Punk has been stripped of the World title.
The stress on her
CM Punk is injured and requires surgery on tricep. CM Punk and Ace Steel are currently waiting to find out whether they are going to join the list of suspensions or... they're waiting to find out if they're going to stay on the list of suspensions or completely, get fired from the company altogether. Is there anything else? Oh, there's a third-party investigation looking into the situation, and there was a talent meeting last night before Dynamite.
Yes, there was, and it was led by Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, and Chris Jericho. And unlike the first talent meeting, which a few talking points made it out to the media, this one.
One last thing.
Go ahead.
CM Punk had a meeting on Tuesday, which was first reported by our friend here, Hollywood Hangman Adam Pearce. If I'm mistaken, please let me know. It was then confirmed by the Sports Illustrated report that announced all the suspensions and stuff like that. So he's not that bad.
Yeah. And
our guy's not that bad. So
yeah, I might know a thing or two, just, in spite of what Twitter says. But yeah, and also just to note, this meeting had less headlines coming out of it than the first one. The first meeting that took place, I want to say last week, for last week's Dynamite, right? A couple things kind of came out about like who was saying what and what the conversation was about.
Like the Brian Pillman Jr. discourse that went down in the last meeting.
Perhaps
that Big AO broke the story live on WrestlePurists.
Yeah, that's unsubstantiated, but
it's not unsubstantiated. It's a fact.
What I will say is that this week nothing really came out of the meeting, and that's by design. Bryan Danielson, he is not a proponent of this media leaking stuff, and I can't really go too much into it, but he's taken measures on his end to keep track of people leaking stuff, and he's taking measures on his end to just kind of prevent it and monitor that type of thing. And beyond that, we don't really know the details of what happened in this meeting because of this. But those are the three people that kind of took charge in this week's meeting. And I mean, I think there's no three better guys at this point. You know what I mean? When you lose out on Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and CM Punk, it's like, who are the next three top guys who have done this for a while, who have drawn money, who have been top stars, who have been over in this business? I mean, you got Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, and Bryan Danielson. And so it's good to hear, just as a fan, that they took a position of leadership. These are three guys who didn't want to be EVPs. They really could have had power of some kind if they wanted to be, but they went to AEW to be able to do wrestling their way, on a platform that allows them to do so, and so to see that platform in turmoil and to see it kind of slipping and in disorder, I'm sure it frankly deeply disturbs them. And so I'd imagine that's probably why the onus was on them, and they were compelled to just kind of hop in and basically say, we're going to salvage this shit because we came here to do wrestling. We came here to wrestle. We came here to do it the way we want to do it. And we're not going to let that get ruined. And so it's almost like it's on them to be leaders to kind of try to make sure that doesn't happen. So, kudos to everybody involved there. And they're the anchors at this point. They're the guys who are going to be, the backbone of this tournament that was announced this week. And so, I just kind of wanted to toss that out there. And, Bryan Danielson, I was told, I wasn't able to cross confirm this, but I was kind of told that he had a certain amount of input on this week's TV show. And when you look at that second hour of Dynamite, I thought it was amazing, first of all. And it very much was a Bryan Danielson pilled second hour, very much this is my vision of pro wrestling second hour. And, wrestling is subjective, but I'm very much somebody who believes in the way Bryan sees wrestling. So I loved it. But yeah, Ayo, what do you make of this situation in general with the fight? What do you make of the meeting? What do you make of what's going on with the state of affairs in AEW right now?
All right, man. CM Punk, he decided that he was gonna do that whole little rant long before it ever happened, bro. He had shit to get off his chest, and he was like, "I'm gonna do it. I don't care how many people I offend. I don't care if this starts some media scrum shit. I don't care anything." He wanted to take away from the pay-per-view, bro. I'm telling you, my nigga, he wanted to take away from the pay-per-view, and he successfully did it. And the Elite politely knocked on his door. They're like, "Oh, hello." Chicago Phil, politely knocked on his door. He opened the door, and then all of a sudden, fucking that jobber ass little boy, I don't remember his name, Ace Steel threw a chair at my nigga Nick Jackson's head, bro. Nick Jackson ain't deserve that shit.
It's so foul.
She was crazy.
Monty's soul is losing.
Kenny Omega was dodging landmines that CM Punk set up to try to murder the Elite to save that poor little puppy. Mind you, Larry the dog, ugly as fuck. Ugliest dog I've ever seen.
We're not gonna diss Larry. Larry, we love you.
No,
I'm not dissing. I'm not.
Don't love Larry.
Larry's over,
I
bro.
love Larry.
I'm not. I don't love Larry, and I'm not speaking as Big AO. I'm speaking for all of WrestlePurists. We hate Larry.
He is not.
No. Punk.
Big AO does not represent the thoughts and feelings and opinions of the WrestlePurists podcast, and we support the continued life and happiness of every dog involved in the situation.
Yeah, so Kenny Omega, he ran in there, he was dodging landmines, trying to save that ugly ass dog. All of a sudden, Ace Steel's old meth head looking ass, he comes, he bites fucking Kenny on the fucking neck and shit. She was mad weird, bro. He thought this was Vampire Diaries, bro. He thought this was True Blood, bro. Come on, my nigga, what's going on? And then, bro, poor Nick Jackson. That good old Christian boy would never hurt a fucking fly. Don't steal chair for no reason.
Oh my god.
For no reason, bro.
Oh my god.
Instead, the good old Christian boy.
The good old Christian boy. Isn't he like a
I was there.
You were there. We have 275 live viewers. I want to just thank everybody who's tuned into the podcast. We're just getting started with this. There's a lot going on in the situation. I just want to thank everybody who is taking time out of their Thursday evening to watch us talk about all the stuff going on with AEW right now. AO, are you done?
I'm never gonna be done, but continue.
Yeah, sources close to the situation notified Hanger Select that
Well, no, I'm not done, bro, nigga. I'm not. You know what? Niggas was talking about it was a 6-minute fight. 6-minute fight. Did any of CM Punk's UFC matches go 6 minutes? Oh,
this is crazy.
CM Punk.
Phil Brooks, if you hear this,
look at this negative influence. I
tuned in just in time for dog slander. That's crazy. Jenny, thank you so much for the $5 super chat donation.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you,
question
Mr. Food, $2. Hanger still selling the Grand Slam ticket. I will answer that question shortly on the podcast once we talk about this show. Thank you for the $2.
One last super chat.
Young Dende $2. TK needs to get RVD to smoke out the locker room. It's funny he says that because I saw someone tweet like earlier in the week that maybe Punk would be calmer if he actually did do drugs, which is hilarious.
He absolutely would be. He's a high-strung motherfucker. But like I was saying, fight for select talking about 6 minutes fight. CM Punk has never been in a 6 minute. You know how long 6 minutes is, bro.
It's crazy. CM 6 minutes is
crazy. Bro, it actually is really long, like for a fight, bro.
Most fights are literally like 25 seconds.
Bro, if obviously these are elite athletes, right? Professional wrestlers, but like two normal people, if they try to fight for 6 minutes, bro, they collapse on the fucking ground,
throwing up and shit.
If you've never been in a fight before, bro, like there's nothing more exhausting that you could possibly do.
Violently swinging your fists into and getting hit in the face and stomach like repeatedly for 6 minutes straight is insane. Like,
crazy.
A Public Enemies podcast as who had a stopwatch for the fight. It was probably CM Punk's ugly ass dog who had the fucking stopwatch.
Larry, I love you.
Why is Larry getting his abuse, bro?
I love you, Larry. Punk, I'm so sorry this happened.
Larry's over, man. He's a good dog.
So you telling me CM Punk couldn't last 3 minutes in the ring with John Moxley, but took on the Elite 3v2 for 6 minutes?
I mean, 2 out of the 3 members of that stable presumably cannot fight, so it depends.
Yo, Nick Jackson will fuck you up, man.
Nick Jackson would not fuck me up.
Nick Jackson.
Yes, he would.
Yes,
he would.
That's what we doing.
Yes, he would.
Listen, if we're really being honest here, like Nick, let me not do that. You know what? I'm not a spiteful man. I'm not an unprofessional person.
Oh,
I'm not gonna take pointed jabs at other people that I don't know personally. So you know what? I'm gonna let that slide. Nick, if you're listening, it's all good, man. We don't got beef. Griff with the $5 $5 super chat donation. Big AO and Alexia section. Fire emoji. Thank you for the super chat donation.
Shout out to my dog Griff, man.
Rob,
oh
$5.
God, Rob.
Elite gang or don't bang. Chicago Phil fears Mike Jackson and Nicky Gall.
That's a fact.
That's so funny, Rob.
Elite gang or don't bang is crazy.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. He threw up the E. Oh my God. Oh man. Yeah, it is funny because it's funny. Like there are a lot of female fans of the Elite, and there are also a lot of female fans of CM Punk. So it's just been funny to see the discourse on Twitter from that end. You know what I mean? But that's unrelated. Listen, AO, again, sources tell Hanger Select that Nick and Matt Jackson approached the doors with pickaxes, right? And they were kicking, and Punk was he was actually trying to soothe the wife of Ace Steel because she was very, very tense. She had a lot of anxiety over the situation. She was just trying to hang out with Larry, and she has a broken foot, which is genuinely true. And Punk was not answering the door because he didn't want confrontation in that moment because a woman was involved. And Nick and Matt, they were just like just hitting the door and chopping at it, right? And he broke through. And at that moment, they had the axes pointed at Larry, and so that's what set Ace off. And so Ace kind of ran in and he's fighting and Punk's fighting and stuff like that. Kenny comes in to make it a 3-on-2 and he tries to put Punk in a sleeper hold. And air was beginning to leave Punk's his body. And so Ace had to do what he had to do, and so he bit Kenny to get him off. And at that point they 2v3'd the Elite, which was astonishing. 2 men beating 3 men is just crazy. But they did that and they left them laying, and that's when the producers came in to try to calm things down. And Mega saw the whole thing and she was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like the trios champion just got beat up by like a retired producer and a pro wrestler with a broken tricep.
A broken tricep.
Sorry, a torn tricep.
Broken tricep.
Yeah, right. Never beat up anybody before in his life.
This is not true. It is not true. But listen, look, in all seriousness, this is frankly, Monty, a really, 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 really bad situation. It's very sad. It's very
horrible.
Embarrassing. It's horrible, man. You have
this is just us coping with it.
Yeah. I'm like joking to get through the pain. But in all seriousness, it's like, dude, AEW, like their talent roster is probably the best of all time. And it's only that way when Kenny Omega and CM Punk are both on the roster, and as somebody who bought tickets to Arthur Ashe, like this freaking sucks. You know what I mean? Like I bought tickets to Arthur Ashe to see Kenny Omega, and I bought tickets to see CM Punk wrestle. And You know, we could debate till the cows come home about, you know, who's at fault and what happened. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it happened, and it leaves AEW unfortunately in a worse situation, which really, really, really sucks. And again, you know,
that's the annoying thing. Like, sorry to cut you off, but look, on Twitter, it's like people are trying to find a they're trying to find a side to be with, and it's perfectly fine having your favorite in the situation, you know, and even being a little bit biased. But when you look at this situation, you look at all the details that we know that have been reported, not the hearsay and the rumors, just what's been reported. People on both sides have been fucking morons at different times, and you know, there's no good or bad guy in the situation. Like it's not as black and white as that.
No, you know who lost in a situation, Monty?
No.
Everyone.
I'm
I'll let you get this off. Just give me a second, please. There's one major loser in this situation, and that's All Elite Wrestling. You know, like it's AEW, and it's just a damn shame it got to this point. And again, you can debate till the cows come home about what triggered this, who started this, who did talk to the media, who didn't. Should Punk have said what he said in the scrum? You know, should the Elite have approached him? Whatever, right?
This is nasty,
Hit horchata $5. Reports are saying Brian Pillman Jr. responded to the locker room post-brawl with a broom and a bottle of multi-purpose cleaner. Thoughts, AO?
Look, man. I just want to know, why do all the super chats always have AO's name on it? Am I the money-making draw? Do I just bring in the big bucks for WrestlePurists? You let me know, Monty.
I'm giving the credit. I'm giving the credit to Alexia this week, and if we pass 2,000 within the first hour, I'm just going to give it to her. But listen, man, this whole thing sucks. It's really unfortunate. It's a big elephant in the room. It's a black cloud. It was obviously affecting John Moxley, and you could see it in his face when he was cutting the promo. You know, it's just like the fact that like AEW, you know, a promotion that's supposed to be for the future, a promotion that's supposed to be above the bullshit and the politics that have plagued the past of pro wrestling. The fact that that's what's causing all this turmoil in this promotion, you could tell that it deeply hurts him, right? And it hurts me as a fan, of course. Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Look, CM Punk is my favorite wrestler of all time. This probably comes as no shock to anybody listening.
Know. Yes, we know.
Probably comes as no surprise to anybody, right? CM Punk is my favorite wrestler, and just on a blank, just general level, before even analyzing the situation, it's really, really sad that I do not get to watch my favorite wrestler wrestle anymore, and he might be flat out done. He tore his tricep, and he has, you know, he's become persona non grata within the last 3 days. So that really sucks. And then just as much as it sucks for the elite fans that, you know, they're going to be gone for a little bit because they're suspended. You know, they got their title stripped of them, and who knows when they come back. So the whole thing just sucks. You know, and the last thing I'm going to say about this before AO, you know, goes insane. Is
bro, I have some very thoughtful things.
Sure.
I'm very concerned about the future of AEW. I have some poignant thoughts to put out there.
Sure. I'm gonna let you get that off in a second.
Screaming, bro.
I'm gonna let you get that off in a second. The last thing I'm gonna add to this, Monty, is just that you know, a lot of people are dealing with this their own way, and they're processing this their own way. And it is complicated because it's like no one really knows these people individually, and none of us was really there, right? And so people are going to have their interpretations and their takeaways. But what I will say is I've seen some people almost celebrating the potential ousting of CM Punk from AEW and taking it as a big win for the elite and celebrating like, oh, man, we got the poison out of the way. And to me, it's like, you know, Punk getting out of AEW, to me, isn't something that should be celebrated. I think it's more of a, what a damn shame it came to this. You know what I mean? Because to me, you know, if you just look at the quarter hours of the ratings and the business metrics and the houses drawn, like he means so much to their business, let alone their product.
He's their biggest star, you know. Like you can bring up any stat. You can bring up any stat you want, but at the end of the day, he is their biggest star, unquestionably.
There you go. So. So to lose that, it's just it's just a real shame, and it's an L for the promotion. And anything to spin that otherwise is just a different version of cope, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people are more anti-Punk than I am, and they probably think that I'm just, you know, being a biased dick rider. And you know, if that's your opinion, you're entitled to it. But that's just how I see things. AO?
We'll let Alexia go.
Alexia, what do you think about this whole situation?
I personally believe that I shouldn't get involved in white men's business because that has nothing to do with me. But I do believe the good Christian Young Bucks will never do that.
Okay. Yeah.
So I stand with AO on this one.
Oh boy. Do you think it was the right decision for Tony to just take everybody's belts away and just kind of say go away?
Definitely not. I am a big Kenny Omega fan. So for me personally, like just getting him back just for those few days, only to have him gone, like vacated, you know, it did kind of like make me upset. Like I guess not like I was like mad or anything, but it was just more like I was like disappointed. I guess it's like, I mean,
Alexia, I'm going to ask you and ask everybody after those announcements, because that's what started the show, right? Did anyone else just kind of watch those opening 30 to 40 minutes in like a state of shock? Like just in general, I just
yes,
like right, like it's just
whenever
weird.
the show started, like immediately when I went from the announcement to the best friends triangle match, I literally had like no reaction. Like I had no time to react. Like I was just like, wait, hold on. Like I was still processing what was going on.
Yeah, so, I had to get myself into the zone, bro. Like,
bro, these guys are wrestling.
To get myself back in,
bro. They're wrestling their ass off, and I felt like I was like, I've been given like. What's that thing that I feel like they give me anesthesia or some shit? Like I just they're going insane and doing all these crazy moves. Hollywood Hangman's personal assistant with a $2 super chat donation. I need to turn in my 2-week notice.
Hey, Hollywood Hangman personal assistant, come work for Big AO. We got perks. You see my weed carrier in the chat. You see Big AO's weed carrier in the chat. You live in large, bro. You guys own private jet, all that.
AO, do you think it was the right decision to take the belts off everybody involved in the situation and suspend everybody?
I mean, we don't know what the fuck happened, bro. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't answer that. Maybe the good Christian boys really did kick down that nigga's door and just started scrapping. If the Young Bucks was in his locker room waiting to talk to him with an aggressive tone or whatever, and CM Punk just says, fuck that nigga, and took off on them, then no, they shouldn't have taken that belts at all. They should have took CM Punk's belts, but like, if they went there looking for a fight and they got their fight, then yeah, you gotta punish everybody. But CM Punk went to the presser looking to start a fight, bro. So
he definitely was in a mood. You know what I mean? He clearly knew he was injured. That's why he said like I'm old, I'm hurt, I'm cranky. And look, man, the Colt Cabana thing, he wanted to get that off his chest. That was definitely something that was just on his mind. And he went in there like,
he even said as much. He said he's ate a lot of shit for a long time on that subject. Yeah. It didn't deserve that reaction. I think it's fair to say. But
yeah, for sure. I think if we were to be like armchair psychologists here, I think Punk thinks that maybe the increasingly mixed reactions for him have been due to the belief that he is a bad person who got this guy fired. You know, if you remember last week on Dynamite, you know, he was cutting a promo and some guy in Chicago, in his hometown, his own people, were chanting Colt Cabana to hijack his segment, you know? And so I think for him, it's like, man, these guys are like fucking my business up and they're like making me, you know, a bad guy and they're doing this and that. And then you close Dynamite. I mean, All Out. He wins the championship and MJF shows up and people are chanting MJF. And to me, you know, I think my interpretation of that is just, you know, people are always going to be cheered when they come back. You know, that's just kind of how wrestling works, right? But I think for him, it's like, wow, like now even MJF's getting cheered over me. Like, this is fucking bullshit. This is the Young Bucks' fault. What the fuck?
Bro, this all started, and I said it from day one.
Yeah.
Hangman Page versus CM Punk should have never been babyface versus babyface. This was always what was going to happen. This was going to happen regardless.
Monty, do you remember what I said about that matchup? I literally said babyface is very tricky.
That whole feud was just weird, bro.
It should have never been babyface.
Those Hangman promos at the time were weird as fuck, and obviously now in hindsight we're like, bro. He
literally said, "I'm not." He said, "I'm trying to save AEW from you." Is what he told Punk.
To a babyface, he was crazy.
I
It's probably like,
I don't see how his promos was weird because it's like if you. Let's say wrestling is all kayfabe, right? Everything that happens in wrestling is real. So like everything that Punk did in AEW was real. Everything that Punk did in WWE was real. Everything that he did in Ring of Honor is real. Every time this nigga becomes the champion, he becomes evil. So why wouldn't Hangman Page say, "I'm trying to save AEW from you by not letting you win this belt"? Like, how does that not make sense in kayfabe?
In my opinion, AO, when he was cutting those promos, I was like, a lot of people were critical of those segments, and my thought was like, this is good because Punk is going heel. Like that was my mindset. It was like, okay, he's going heel. Hangman is repping the elite here. He's repping the company brand and what they stand for, and okay, it makes sense. But because Punk stayed babyface and was like, no, I'm just gonna beat you as a good guy. It was like, okay, that was kind of weird.
The right thing, though. You can say what you want about the save you from AEW, save AEW from you, like whatever. Mm-hmm. But the workers' right in the first promo that started the going into business for yourself shit. Mm-hmm. That was weird, bro. Like a babyface cutting a promo on another babyface talking about like workers' rights and yada yada yada, bro. Like,
the way I see it is look, wrestlers, especially at the top level, have big egos, right? And you know, even though it's all fake and people should just be professionals and do business, I think frankly, I think wrestlers feel some type of way if they're supposed to be a good guy and they just don't get cheered. I think a lot of people can't handle that. Look at Cody Rhodes. That shit broke his brain, you know, when he got booed, right? I think, you know, it just broke. I don't think a lot of people can handle being a babyface and just not being cheered. And I always tell you this, Monty. I said this in the pod, you know, months ago. Babyface versus babyface is very flawed because you're splitting the crowd. You're splitting their affections, and you know that's always going to lead to something kind of cheeky. And in this situation with CM Punk, and we know Punk is a very prideful guy. He's a sensitive guy. And it's like you're in a situation, and probably Hangman as well. And you're in a situation now, AEW unscripted promos. You're trying to make it feel real. You're trying to make it feel heated. And so Hangman's way of doing that was like, I'm just gonna tell this guy how I feel about him. Fuck you. You're a fraud. Workers' rights was bullshit, and I'm saving AEW from you. And Punk is probably like, huh? Like what the fuck? Like what? From my memory, I don't remember Punk really hitting him with a personal shot like that. I remember just kind of being like, I'm gonna beat you because I'm better at wrestling than you. But yeah, when you think about it, Ayo's right. Like this really, it's the nature of that program rather than that specific line. I think that really kind of created some issues because what happens is, you know, they always say that when someone's mad at you, they reveal how they really feel about you. And Hangman just kind of like using the promo material of just kind of like you're a fraud and I'm saving this company from you. It implies much more than what's actually said. You know what I mean? And it implies a lot of just harsh feelings, I think, in terms of just like what he thinks Punk is doing to the promotion as a whole. And so again, Punk, and now you have a guy who broke his foot and he's sitting in his bed for months, for weeks, because he literally said I couldn't walk. Yeah, months. But he's sitting in bed surrounded by four walls, and all he's thinking about probably is he's probably just hyper fixating on these fucking promos, you know, just driving himself insane. You know, over analyzing like these interactions, you know, probably made him go crazy.
You read the,
that's another thing. You CM Punk dick riding ass niggas, bro. Y'all gotta stop being so disingenuous about how much Colt Cabana was or was not being used. He was being flown out every single week before CM Punk got signed to AEW. He was there every week. He was on Dark and Dark Elevation every week, bro. All right,
they were on the same Dynamite together, though, bro.
He never got injured. CM Punk got signed. All of a sudden, you know what? We don't really need you on Dark and Dark Elevation no more, Colt. Just take a month or two off, my nigga. And now his contract's coming up, and we're just not gonna bring you back, big bro. My fault.
And then he got reassigned to Ring of Honor, which I mean, look, this is complete speculation,
come on, bro.
This is complete speculation.
All right, from what I heard from an AEW wrestler is that what I heard is nobody knows. For sure. CM Punk said, I don't want this motherfucker in my locker room no more. Nobody knows. But he also said, if CM Punk said that, the only people that would know is CM Punk, Tony Khan, and Mega. That's not Kenny Omega, but Mega, the head leading attorney. I think she's the
chief legal officer.
Yeah, CFO as well. Those are the only three people that would know. So who knows? But all I'm saying is go look at Cage Match. You don't have to argue with me. Colt Cabana was there every single week. CM Punk got signed. Colt, we gonna catch you later, big bro.
They have been on the same show though.
But if the overlap is, I'm not gonna go through this now.
I think it's two tapings. They've been at the same two
tapings.
Yeah,
and then Colt was no more. And then, even somebody like Joey Janela, who they found out that they wasn't gonna bring back anymore. Who's more over, Joey Janela or Colt Cabana?
Neither. To be honest with you, neither.
At least Janela had a little bit of a run on AEW TV. You know.
He was a player in the first few months of the promotion's history.
Yeah.
But by the time he was done,
Wrestle Kenny in a TV main event, bro.
Yeah. I think it was the first Dark, I want to say, or second. Janela was a player for a few months at the beginning, but then at some point both he and Colt Cabana are non-factors. So much so that like it really doesn't even matter to discuss like who's more over. You know what I mean? Like neither guy really made a dent in anything. Here's what I want to switch this to.
Real
Alexia,
quick before you start.
Okay.
Sorry, Alexia.
No worries.
We had a few super chats when we was doing all the fight talk. So I'll let you read them out, Hanger.
Sure. More KG, $5. Sounds like Punk crashed a super kick party. Punk gave 2 minutes of whooping per elite member. Oh my god. More KG.
It's crazy.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. J Blood, $4.99. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a Jackson balling up their little fists? They haven't fought since church camp. Oh my god! I honestly would. We'll finish the super chats and I'm gonna say something about that. Go ahead, Rob. $2. CM Punk fears Teddy Hart.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rob. Young Dende, $2. A Steel controlled Kenny's narrative.
I get it.
Biting Kenny.
I get it.
Oh, boy.
He's wrong, but I get it.
Oh my god! I just needed to buy Kenny Omega. Alexia, again, we could just debate till the cows come home about who's wrong and this and that and how this all started. But we're in the situation we're in now. We can't go backwards. We can't prevent anything that's happened. Now that we are in the situation that we are in, who do you think, Mox talked about in his promo about getting the ball. Who do you think are the 3 top wrestlers that Tony should focus on centering his programming on to lead AEW in this rough patch that they're in? If you could pick 3 wrestlers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like one of them is kind of pretty, not really obvious, but like very consistent, especially like if you look back at like the last 2 Dynamites and stuff this week.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like a good spot, I guess. Like very consistent. One of the future guys, Garcia. I feel like he had like they've done like really good at elevating him like as like a superstar. Like he's like a younger guy, but like the fact like the past 2 Dynamites and like the one from yesterday, so the past 3 weeks, it's reached over like 1 million, and he has been at the center of it. Like whether it's like the storyline or not, like I know one of them I would like to see more of him is him. But I feel like for me, number 1, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian, he definitely, and obviously like Moxley, but
You know what's funny about Danielson, Alexia? I feel like he's somebody that we all know how tremendous he is, right?
He's great.
Yeah. But because of like just the way the roster is structured and the way things were going with stories, it almost felt like he almost intentionally played I don't want to say second fiddle, but almost like is taking a subdued role where he's like, I'm just gonna hang out and just be really good at wrestling, while people are kind of occupying the main roles and in title situations and things like that. And the benefit of that is that because he's so high level, if you need him to be like the top guy to lead the show for a few months, he'll easily slip into that role and do that totally fine if you want and need him to do that. And to me, it's almost about time because I'm not saying he's going to leave the company when his contract's up, but it's like you're paying a guy who's that high level. You might as well use him to his complete fullest extent. You know what I mean? So I think it's clear that we're going to see more Danielson as a result of what's happened, and that excites me. Hey, what do you think about this question? Who do you think are the guys who Tony should really lean on to kind of lead things here?
Danielson, Mox, and Hangman. No question. No question in my mind.
You would give us more Hangman over maybe an Andrade or some of the fringe guys who maybe kind of waited for their turn, so to speak?
I mean, there's a lot of people that could use the singles. I'm talking about the very, very, very top of the card. Andrade could be there, but is Andrade going to win like a world title program? Is Andrade going to main event Dynamite?
You get the push, right? Why not? You know,
this is the time. I mean, look,
no, that's the thing. That's the thing. There's a lot of spots.
Put the title on Bruce.
You know,
a lot of spots.
Wheeler Yuta and Bryan Danielson main evented a Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia main evented a Dynamite as a result of what's been going on. You know,
shout out to main event. Daniel Garcia, friend of
absolutely.
WrestlePurists podcast.
He's a friend of the podcast.
Pause, my nigga looking swollen and shit. Yo, Yuta, bro. Yuta, I don't know what's going on, my nigga, but you used to be swollen than DG, bro. What happened? You losing mad weight. DG getting swollen. I don't know, bro.
It was funny when DG came out.
Be getting them AO meal plans, bro.
It is funny. Like, it was the gayest I ever felt, bro, because fucking this dude comes out for his entrance. And I was like, damn, this dude got mad big. Pause. Like, what the hell?
Mad brolic now,
bro. He got brolic. I remember when
you was swollen when you was a broke indie wrestler.
This is nuts.
Maybe he's doing Danielson yoga, and I don't know. Who knows?
Danielson yoga is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. But go ahead.
I mean, people that I would like to see like get the ball and run, like, you know, Andrade, Swerve, fucking Keith Lee, absolutely not Ricky Starks. Keep that nigga on the bench. MJF is
you're a big fan of Swerve, so that one could be real interesting because obviously you know, I've always thought he's done his best work as a heel.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of a heel vibe from him last night. Obviously, we'll get into it when we review Dynamite, but he could be an interesting one because, like I was about to say, there's been quite a lot of spots that have opened up, at least for the foreseeable future. So you might as well kind of these guys that we all kind of, like, you know, circled as guys that one day they'll be in the main event. Like, you know, you could potentially really get cooking with some of them. So
I totally agree.
My three, for example, would be I'd go with Danielson as my world champ, and I'll just hand him a blank piece of paper and be like, "Who do you want to wrestle? Who's available?" You know, that's what we're doing for the next few months. Just let Danielson go nuts. I would re-establish the momentum that Wardlow had, and someone would have to talk me out of the temptation of doing big shit with people would have to talk me out of the temptation of doing big shit with Eddie Kingston or Samoa Joe.
Oh man, you know, that's the other thing that really sucks about Punk being gone is I really wanted them to go back to Punk and Eddie Kingston so much. Like their first program and match were just so great to me, and the fact that we have to kind of like reroute things is unfortunate. Alexia, are you a Wardlow girl?
I am a Wardlow girl.
Okay, it's interesting. Just check.
Yo,
I am the demo, the 18 to 49.
I'm a fan of Wardlow, bro. I made a hoop mixtape for Wardlow, but I'm starting to worry that
oh boy,
that nigga is low key smoking mirrors, son. No Cody Rhodes.
I mean, are you just wait? Are you just hold on? Ayo, are you just realizing this now?
I mean, I always said no. I've always said because I got into a debate with somebody on Twitter, right? And they were like, "Oh, Jay could do this, Jay could do that, but Jay, once the bell rings, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, you could say the same exact thing about Wardlow, and people was on my ass. I was like, but hey, bro, but it's like all those things that Jay does is like so much better than Wardlow. That doesn't really matter that she's not a ring general at this point right now. But Wardlow, I don't know, bro. Besides his look, I don't know, man.
I'm just surprised that you
ass nigga, bro.
Ayo, I'm just surprised that like because you're saying this as if like it's something that just hit you. Because to me, and I said this to Monty for so many months that like I like Wardlow a lot. Actually, I think he's just somebody that look to me his limitations were extremely clear for a long time. But if you still want to make the choice to push him, then you just have to handle him with extreme care. I think a guy like Bryan Danielson, you don't have to put too much thought into what you do with him in the sense of you're kind of like, I trust this guy, go out there and wrestle and you figure it out. You're amazing, right? I think with a Wardlow, you have to kind of put him in a really protected setting, in a protected environment where you're meticulously detailing how to make sure he looks cool and strong and epic in every way. You know what I mean? And so it's like, because he's a limited performer, it's like, okay, you put him in segments where he's beating up a bunch of security guards, where he's beating up a bunch of people running at him, or he's in a match with a stipulation where, like, his lack of maybe complete fundamental understanding of every aspect of wrestling isn't completely exposed. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a limited.
No.
What's wrong?
Did anyone see that Brad Shepard tweet last night?
No, I don't.
About the hotel.
I don't pay attention to that guy. He's a human genital wart, and I don't want to give him the time of day.
He's so obviously just absurd. It's like the AEW leaks are coming into me fast and furious. I'm hearing more and more about this drug floor at the Hyatt Regency in Jacksonville, Florida.
This drug what?
I'm praying
The
on that
drug
man's
floor.
downfall.
Is he saying there's like anyways, so when it comes to Wardlow, it's like when it comes to Wardlow, man, I it's like Ayo, like I don't disagree. It's just that it's always been apparent to me. It's why I was so impressed with the job they were doing with him and MJF, because it was like, how are they going to get into that level? And it's like, you have to be creative. You have to be really creative to keep a guy like that who maybe doesn't know how to do certain things that other wrestlers can do. How do you keep him interesting? It's like, and they found ways every week to do something different that was really fun. Breaking into the arena and the handcuffs and the security guards and the, trying to get out of his contract with MJF and, being abused, basically being in an abusive relationship and, trying to provide for his mother, which was a story element. And I think what he has for him is that he's a beast. He's in great shape. He's he's a fiery guy. He's very likable. I think everyone would agree. And so if you want to continue to keep Wardlow as a key player, I think it's possible, but it's definitely going to take a lot more brain work from Tony. And so he's going to have to be willing to do so in order to keep him over. Because if you kind of phone it in with Wardlow, like you have been doing since he's won the TNT title, you have situations where he's 100% going to kind of just feel like a part of the show rather than one of the stars of the show.
Yeah, 100%. A few more super chats. Right. Oh, holy shit. Oliver, I'll let you take this one.
$49.99.
Oliver, thank
oh my
you.
God! You know what, Alexia, do you want to read this one?
Yeah, sure. It says, just want to give a big thanks to you. I got anxiety and mental health issues that tend to get the best of me at times, but you crack me the F up, man. The podcast and spaces really make me forget what's going on in my head. Keep doing what you're doing because you're killing it.
Let's give some claps for Oliver. Oliver, thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate you.
Oliver, I hope you get better, King.
Absolutely.
I'm using the fucking chat for Oliver, man.
Yeah, W's
Yo,
in the
where
chat
is Israel? Our mob, bro. We have fucking trolls in the chat, but no, but W's in the chat for Oliver, bro.
Absolutely.
We're glad that we can make you laugh, entertain you, help you kill time and shit, bro. We appreciate your support. That's dope, man.
Absolutely. Listen, man, sometimes I'm on Twitter and I'm like, man, what is the point of this app? Like, this is just awful. People are so bad and rude and stupid, and they just say things that they would never say to your face, and they're just so like hyper fixating on things that don't matter. And there's so many times where I'm like, especially when your account grows, I'm just like, man, this is such a horrible platform for the most part. But then you always have these moments that kind of remind you of like the positives of wrestling Twitter and Twitter in general, and among them, of course, besides the platform we built and all the people I've met, like Alexia, like Ayo, like Monty, and all the people who support us, is the people like this who, whether they DM me during a space or, right here in front of everyone in the super chat, people who genuinely, like, I don't want to say depend on us, but like their days are enhanced or even made better by just us fucking sitting out and talking about wrestling. Like that sounds like a cliche to say that that's like surreal, but it really is surreal. Like, people really just listen to me and other people talk about made up fighting, and like it makes their day better. Like, that's really, really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a nice escape for people to have, and if we can help out with people having those escapes, then it's humbling. It's very humbling.
100%.
I keep seeing Chris trying to join at the bottom, but his shit keeps glitching, so I can't like add him in.
Of course. Oliver, God bless you. We appreciate
Chris.
you, man. We appreciate you. Keep on keeping on, man, and we're gonna keep on keeping on our side and keep listening. Thank you.
Yo, real quick, because
go ahead, Ayo.
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead and talk, Monty. I got it. I'm trying to figure.
Yeah, I'll pull up this super chat. We got a few more.
Go ahead, Alexia.
Do you think Jericho, Moxley, and Danielson will be just acting EVPs from now on? If not, how long will they replace the Elite?
I can actually answer this a little bit.
Okay.
So here's the deal. We don't know what's the ultimate fate of the Elite when it comes to their status as EVPs. We do know that the reasons why they were stripped of the titles is because they're going to be gone for some time as well. Bryan Danielson, guys, he's somebody who in the past has been in positions where he's worked with management. In WWE, he was somebody who was helping produce matches on SmackDown as well as being on the writing and creative team. This is something that he's had experience with, but frankly, Danielson doesn't like doing that overall. Like, he didn't come to AEW to be an executive, and he doesn't enjoy it. But with that said, with him and Chris Jericho, they're both guys that if they wanted an acting position behind the scenes, they could get it in a heartbeat, right? But the reason...
Jericho spoke on this at length multiple times. He was offered an EVP position when AEW started. He told TK, he's like, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm not trying to do that. I'm here to help AEW however I can, but I don't want to be an executive. But I think that he realizes now that it's just like nah, like real niggas gotta step up at this point.
That's the thing about it, AO. We're in a situation where Jon Moxley. No one knows what the hell Jon Moxley thinks about anything really, but
right.
But Danielson and Jericho, we know that if they wanted a spot running things, they could get it, but they don't want it, right? But they are in a situation right now where Tony Khan needs help. You know what I mean? And so it's like it's almost like they're taking it upon themselves to be able to be leaders because they have to. And so I think everybody understands the situation they're in, and they don't want this to go to shit. You know what I mean? It would be a damn shame if AEW went to shit.
Well, why are likes so? Yo, everybody hit the like button right now. Right now.
Everybody.
Before I come to your
they
house
always take a while to
our likes are so low
catch
right
up.
now. What's going on?
Man, like, subscribe. Right, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, then what are you doing?
Guys, if you don't like,
if you don't, that's not what you want. These promises is not what you want. Hit the like button right fucking now and subscribe.
Absolutely, and if you don't like the video, you're gonna make Alexia really sad. And I don't think anybody in here wants Alexia to be sad. You know,
I'd be very sad.
Be really sad. So make sure to do that. More Casey, thank you for your super chat. Punk looking mad that MJF was getting cheered. That's what I was saying, man. You know, I think in his mind he's like, yo, you're messing up the business of CM Punk by making me look like a bad person with the Colt thing. And I think that's the rationalization in his head for MJF getting cheered. No one is buying tickets for a Colt Cabana match. The Pro Wrestling Podcast, I personally agree with you, and I don't think anyone ever has bought tickets for a Colt Cabana match.
This is an interesting point to bring up.
Go ahead, Alexia, read this one.
Hangman champion run was overlooked because Tony, to me, put Punk over him with like TV time and stories. TK has to rehab Hangman a bit.
I completely agree. Well, when it was Hangman's time
peak Punk MJF, wasn't it? So
yeah, Hangman was putting on some of the best American TV matches ever during his run. But it was the CM Punk show during his championship run. And I feel that was mad unfair to Hangman.
Balance was off. It definitely was off.
Yeah, so
because Hangman's feuds didn't feel fully fleshed out like MJF and Punk did. You know, like MJF and Punk.
Here's the murder hawk monster. Here's the fight. Here's the 5
yeah, it was just MJF and Punk had these. MJF and Punk had these like really hot angles and angles that we'll remember. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas Hangman wasn't in those fully fleshed out feuds, and obviously, you know, everyone knows that CM Punk has kind of like a lot of input on the storylines and stuff that he's in, but still, it feels like Hangman could have had a bit more focus and effort put into his storylines while he was champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think first we need to get the house in order, you know, before we even talk about, you know, Hangman and pushing him. I think we really need to just stabilize the product.
Danielson,
you know,
get the bout on the dragon.
Yeah, and so, you know, I'll get into this when we get into the show, and we might as well start now. You know what AEW feels like right now? It's almost like a post-apocalyptic setting where there's so much rubble and garbage around. And before we start talking about, hey, this guy should be the one that we fix, I think what we should really do is just clean up the room and then establish some sense of stability and order. And then once that's in place, then we can start talking about, okay, this guy and that guy and this guy. And it's almost funny because when I talk about this post-apocalyptic setting, the way I looked at the trios match last night, it's almost like an untouched basketball court with nothing but rubble and garbage surrounding it, and people are going crazy on it, but you're like, yo, there's nothing but rubble and garbage surrounding this court.
Bro, one last thing before we get fully into Dynamite review. So we've done the fights, we've done the suspensions, we've done the injuries, the releases. Malakai has been given his conditional release by AEW. This was reported by Fightful Select. Although the wording was a lot of talent are under the belief that has happened. But of course, as you said on the podcast, either on Monday or last week, Malakai isn't really someone who talks to media.
No.
And of course, the people close to him probably, respect that it's his business and haven't actually confirmed it. But it is pretty much confirmed.
On multiple occasions.
What did you say, Ayo?
I said him and Sean Ross have gotten into it on multiple occasions.
Oh my god!
Mainly about his wife, but Malakai really does not like dirt sheets at all.
Wait, you're serious? I thought you were joking.
No, I'm
I thought Ayo was doing like a I think it's doing like a kayfabe bit here. I was about to be like, chill out.
They do not like each other. Well, Malakai does not like him. That's why.
I don't even know if it's that he don't like him. He's just definitely retaliated to stuff he's seen in the past. I can't even remember the exact story it was, but I have seen Malakai calling the sheets out, should we say?
Yeah,
I was personally told that he hates like wrestling reporters.
Yeah. And another wrestler actually told me that because I tweeted that it was, I think all this is gonna be good for AEW, right? And a wrestler hit me up and he's like, "Yo, I low key agree," because he's like, the boys will always ruin it for the boys, and like the whole like free spirit, like everybody's just skipping around backstage doing whatever the fuck they want, shit. Like it was cool for the first 2 years, but the boys ruined it. So like some of the structure shit that they were doing at WWE that people were free from at AEW is like maybe they had to do it because the boys ruined it. You know what I'm saying? So I think this could end up like helping. Making a more structured environment. Word to friend of the show, Big Swole.
Either way, it's definitely a new era that they're going into, and definitely to Ayo's point, this is of course. I think I mentioned it in our group chat the other day, whereas it's like, of course, with all the new promotions that he done a couple of weeks ago with the talent relations and stuff like that. Now these situations came up. It's pretty urgent for them to get a really smart, functional structure in the company. So either way, they are going into a new era. Obviously, losing your biggest star, if he does end up getting fired, is, pretty tragic. The Elite, who are like,
they built AEW.
The heart of AEW, like them being suspended is obviously tragic as well. But like, either way, they're going into a new era now, so it could be good, it could be terrible. We don't know.
CM Punk was smoking cock if he ever thought that AEW fans were going to take his side over the Elite. Like that was never going to fucking happen. Like you're CM Punk, but bro, they built this fucking company. Like, let's be for real, bro.
All Punk wrestling?
Niggas thought this was going to be all CM wrestling.
Oh my god,
face, nigga.
All Chicago.
Listen,
fucking tricep looking like fucking string of mozzarella.
What do you think,
tricep, nigga?
Alexia, what did you think of going into Dynamite now? I think all of us could agree that in spite of all the nonsense that's going on surrounding the company right now and all the shit that's just negative and stuff, I think we could all agree that in spite of that, the talent that were on the show had a really just inspired effort yesterday. And a lot of people worked really hard to be able to provide a really good show. And, if you ask me, I thought like just the more I think about it, like the Dynamite last night was really, really great, especially given the circumstances.
It was awesome.
I feel like it was great. I feel like a lot of the talent like stepped up. Like, it's just kind of like, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done. Like, none of that. Teenage drama girl backstage,
That's what I'm saying. It speaks to the professionalism and resiliency of pro wrestlers, I think, because, in spite of all of the shit that happens behind closed doors that we are not privy to and we can't see, and At the end of the day, the show just is how the business goes. The show must go on, and there's people who pay for tickets to see the show, and the people are like, we just gotta go out there, and all we can do, look, the wrestlers themselves, they can't control the CM Punk situation. They can't bring somebody back or prevent something, but what they can do is. What's up?
Get your shit off, bro.
What they can do is
no.
Fuck
what Hangman talking about. Get your shit off, Chris.
All I want to just give a quick rant before y'all go into Dynamite. It'll be more of a serious rant, but it's about one Phil Brooks. Punk was my favorite wrestler of all time before I found out about the Elite. So this breaks my heart having to say this, but CM Punk being gone from AEW, while it would be a very bad thing financially for business for the time being, bro, it's better for the morale as a company. Unless you're unless you're FTR, it's better for. I don't know, bro. I feel like the culture around AEW before CM Punk came was very positive lighted. There were still, petty little beefs, but nothing this big. And I just think it's not a coincidence that he came into this company for all the good he's done, all the good feuds and all the good press and merchandising and whatever. It's not a coincidence that everywhere this man goes, everyone has something bad to say about him. And I'm not saying everyone has something good to say about the Elite, because they probably don't. But, bro, it comes to a point where you have to – there's a common denominator in all these fucking situations. And it's like, did CM Punk have to go out on a media scrum after our biggest pay-per-view of the year and just go nuclear on our EVPs and on our talent, burying talent, just because he's a little bit grumpy? Is that fair?
Well,
is that something he should have done?
It wasn't because he was a little bit grumpy, but your sentiment, I know what you're trying to get at.
I know, but it's they're just putting out dirty laundry in front of all this media, overshadowing all the talents, all the great matches that happened on the show. Your great match that you had, the return of the Grind Runner at the end of the show. It's just like, bro, you have to not be selfish.
As soon as Chris comes in here, FTR just get cooked in the chat, man.
Y'all are bugging about FTR.
Yo, fuck FTR.
Fuck. I won't say fuck CM Punk, it is, but I hate FTR. But it's like, bro, did you have to be that selfish and take away the moment? You did not have to take away that moment. You could have, after all that, you have a day, just be like, yo, let's have a meeting. I don't need to air out in front of Dave Meltzer and Denise Alslato. Like, you know what I'm talking about? And I don't know, bro. I'm not one of these WWE fans that hate CM Punk with a passion and think he should be just done with wrestling. But if this is what he did to this company, I think it's time for CM Punk to go be a family man.
Bro, I have information that will lead to the arrest and imprisonment of the XR Williams CM Punk.
Oh my god!
But I'm not going to release it on this podcast.
No.
Also, it's
people are going to take you. People are going to take you serious. People are going to take you serious.
Chrissy's coming on here trying to be serious and trying to get his points off, and AO just comes out with just fucking that.
And to all you CM Punk fans,
chill, bro.
Chris is being as mature as he has ever been on the podcast, just trying to just professionally explain his point of view. I was very
CM
surprised.
Punk fans on Twitter.
Oh boy, here we go.
Trying to paint this trying to paint this man as a hero. Saying, well, we
He's
can't
a hero
just take the elite side for it, but then taking CM Punk's side for it. Especially you, Hangman, talking about a 3-on-1 attack with no context on it. And you got people, CM Punk 3v1 the Elite. CM Punk 3v1 Larry and his fucking dog friends. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Ugly ass dog.
And I seen someone in the comments say that CM Punk 2 each for each member of the Elite. Hey, CM Punk might beat up the Young Bucks. But he ain't beating up Tyson Smith, nigga. He ain't beating up Kenny Omega.
That's a fact.
Kenny Omega, unlike CM Punk, has a successful MMA record.
Kenny Omega a shooter.
Does it?
All right.
Yeah, he's 4.
Yeah,
I think
no,
he's
he
like
does,
4-2,
Monty.
5-2.
Yeah. You didn't know that, Monty.
Why do I
Kenny be fighting niggas.
Kenny, that nigga,
He's
bro.
not doing this.
All right.
I've followed Kenny Omega for like years as well.
Yeah, bro.
Did you just think he was like a brolic nerd?
Like since my brother Chris came in here being all serious and shit,
yeah,
his real opinion on CM Punk and you know, AEW fans. I'm gonna give my real opinion. You know, gimmick AO aside. You know, it's low key sad how AEW fans are treating CM Punk on his way out. You know, I scroll the timeline a lot. I see a lot of jokes. You know, I made some jokes as well. People mocking him, mocking his injuries, mocking his career, saying this is why he never main evented WrestleMania, saying that he's not a good wrestler. Like, why are people pretending like he can't wrestle, bro? Why are people pretending like he doesn't add value to the company? He was doing, what did he say? He was the dollars and cents, Hangman?
Say it again?
The dollars and cents.
You said he was the dollars and cents of AEW?
Yeah.
Like, people were pretending like he wasn't a draw. People were pretending like he didn't have moments that we all collectively popped.
No, I think his AEW run has been excellent overall.
It's crazy, bro. And it's crazy that people are pretending like this didn't happen. And I sat down and I stewed over for a minute, and then I was like, why are people pretending, like, why are people doing this? Like, why are people treating CM Punk like this? Like, is AEW really a cult? And then I realized they are fucking pretending, nigga. It's a league gang that don't fucking bang. That old ass nigga CM Punk is garbage, nigga. CM Punk is watch the fuck up. That Bret Hart merchant, them sick ass tribute matches. Nobody trying to watch none of that shit, nigga. If CM Punk's gone, FTR's next, nigga. Get that embarrassing ass, bald ass nigga and his sidekick Cash the fuck out of here, nigga. I'm tired of this. You know bitches having ass CM Punk fans. I'm tired of you niggas. This nigga CM Punk, he wins one title. Owie, my foot. He has another title match. Owie, my tricep. Matter of fact, I was just in Chicago, right?
What did he say? What did he say, AO?
And I saw CM Punk under the pass, right? Begging for change, looking for meth, looking for money to buy meth, looking for money to buy crack cocaine with his fucking ass teeth. I said, you unemployed ass little boy, don't ever disrespect Kenny Omega ever again in your life. What the fuck is wrong with you? CM Marshall ass nigga. This nigga is the fucking QT. This nigga. I'm not done with this nigga CM Punk, bro. Keep riding that old ass nigga's dick, Hangman. Keep riding this dick. I'm tripping on your ass, bro. That's all I gotta say. Fuck CM Punk. Fuck Hangman. Cry, nigga. Not Hangman Page. Hangman Pierce. Cry, Hangman. Cry.
CM Punk. If Phil Brooks, if you're listening to this, I only have a few things to say.
Yo, Phil Brooks, if you're listening to this, suck my dick.
Phil Brooks, if you're listening to this, number one, the WrestlePurists podcast is not. We don't co-sign the comments of various individuals here. But in all seriousness, CM Punk, if you're listening to this, I have the following to say to you. Number one, I hope you are okay, and I hope you process your injury and find a way to fill your time for these next few months in a productive way. Number two, I would love to see you wrestle again.
If that's the third floor sucked.
If that just, I don't know what you just said, but if that just isn't possible, if it's just not possible for you to be able to make it work with the Elite, so be it. But I do thank you for coming back to pro wrestling. I was of the opinion that you're one of the best wrestling talents ever, even before you had this return run. But you've just fortified that with the work that you've done in this year. And even though it's unfinished, I think what we did see was you came back into a different wrestling landscape and you did it your way. You didn't try to acquiesce or just cosplay the way everyone else wrestles now. You just kind of did it your way, and it still worked, and it still got over. And I personally enjoyed it because, I think there's a certain fundamental tools in the history of the business.
He was cosplaying,
bro. You know, Buckshot Larry almost tore every fucking ligament in his knee. Of course, he didn't try to cosplay. What is he gonna do? Topes, bro? Gonna break his neck.
He can't.
The point is I thank you for bringing back the movement of wrestling to wrestling, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate how much you appreciate the sport and the art of wrestling. And it's different than how other people do it, but I think the way you do it is great, and it worked, and we saw it this last year, and so I thank you for this return.
She does cosplay.
$5 from Isra. Phil Brooks, if you're reading this, explain why you're still ducking the fade from Seth.
Thank you. CM Punk vs. Seth Rollins.
Okay,
Isra, y'all remember when
Young Dende, $5. Two things can be true at once. Phil's run has been great, but he also needs to check himself. I'm a big fan of his, but I'm real disappointed in him.
We're all disappointed in him. He failed us as
Kimo Sabi, $5. I want to know what CM Puss thinks he can teach Hangman that Jimmy Valiant, the Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kenny Omega could not.
I have something to say about Punk.
But
I think
to be honest,
Punk is
say
jealous.
what you want about the whole like Punk situation or whatever. Like I even thought it at the time when I saw the transcription. But those Hangman comments about like not wanting advice from anyone were like, what the fuck is he talking about?
No, what do we? What do you mean?
To be honest,
if he was no, you cannot do that because if Hangman Page was a shitter of a wrestler and he didn't have the charisma, he didn't have the wrestling ability, he didn't have the promo ability, or which he did not have in New Japan. So obviously he took advice from other people. But
Chris,
we're acting like he needs to fucking listen to CM Punk about stuff. He doesn't.
Do you niggas understand? Hangman Page is one of the best wrestlers alive today, right now. 5 years ago, he was just an average. He was Cody's fucking weed carrier, bro. That nigga was not that good 5 years ago. Niggas fucked with him because he was in the Bullet Club. He was just average. So he just got that good on his own. He wasn't listening to anybody. Like, is that what CM Punk wants me to believe?
No, it's not like he said just CM Punk, bro. Look, the question was, you've got minds in the locker room like CM Punk and Sting. Like that's what those were the two names given in the question. And he was like, I don't really take advice. You know, I've done so much by myself. I don't, you know, look what I've done with AEW. I've been world champion, etc. And it just, I don't know, bro. Like, I like Hangman, and it hasn't put me off him or anything like that. You know, I'm just saying, like, those comments right there were kind of wild, and it just, I don't know, it just came off a bit. It just didn't come off very.
I gotta be honest.
Great at all.
This is a bit annoying, and I could straight up have a whole essay about this, but I'll refrain from doing that. All I will say is that it's not particularly a mindset that I would agree with. But if that's how he chooses to proceed with his career, then that's his prerogative, and I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Dynamite, old head ass niggas, bro.
I think Hangman has a really pretty moonsault.
He has an amazing moonsault.
Everyone follow Chris at Chris O'Bread. Chris, you got anything to plug?
No, just follow me. I'm close to 2,000.
There you go. He's been
follow for the jokes.
Elite gang or don't bang.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you, Chris.
Fuck you.
Dynamite was in Buffalo last night. Dynamite was in Buffalo last night, and a real eventful show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got the announcement from Tony Khan that the trios titles were vacated, and they were going to be decided in the trios match that was on that show. Andrew the Giant said, "Julia's hat is better than CM Punk." Thank you for the super chat.
The last anti-Punk super chat that we've got at the moment. I said that someone will just send one in now, but
probably
Isra. But
yeah. So listen.
Thanks, Andrew.
It was announced that the Death Triangle versus Best Friends match was going to decide the Trios Championship, and Tony Khan announced I believe it was called a Circle of Champions or something like that.
Tournament of Champions.
Tournament of Champions to decide the AEW champion at Grand Slam and Arthur Ashe. Mm-hmm. And the bracket featured all people who used to hold championships in AEW, and a number of key names who have been in the promotion for a while. And among one of the first round matches was Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page, which was a really, really exciting impromptu announcement that was going to be for later in the evening. But the show opened up officially with MJF coming out. MJF showed up in front of Buffalo, and he's wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey, and he's playing total babyface. And he was just, playing to the crowd and pandering, and
it's like a stand-up comedy set, bro.
Really, because
I was so afraid. Like, I was just there, and I was like, something's gonna happen. Like the whole time, I was just like, I don't I don't like this, but
that's what I'm saying. It was super disingenuous, and like it was one of those things like we all knew, you know what I mean? We all knew he was kind of bullshitting a little bit, but it was really funny to just see it play out where he's just kind of like, yeah, it's great to be back and all that stuff, and he was being Max, and John Moxley came out and he did not look like he was particularly happy in general. He looked like he was kind of annoyed to be there, but he had to be there, and he kind of just told Max, he kind of just told Max like to stop bullshitting. And Max kind of went into his WWE thing where he was just kind of like, yeah, maybe I am a bad guy. Maybe I am just kind of using AEW. Maybe I just want to use the championship as a bargaining chip, for the big bidding war of 2024 and going to a real company, with a real boss. And he referenced the game, Triple H, and he referenced Nick Khan, being the superior Khan. He called him Jolly Old Saint Nick. And he even referenced, rejoining Mr. Cody Rhodes.
The Codester, who departed AEW back in February. So he kind of did that whole shtick. And then John Moxley, once MJF got out the ring, he cut a really, really passionate promo that I think we're all in agreement that promo was tremendous. And the general gist of the promo was just that, the AEW championship really, really means something. And, he talked about how much how he's really annoyed right now, primarily, first and foremost, because he failed to win the championship on the pay-per-view. And he just vowed to, take the ball and be the ace and be the man and win the championship. And he talked about how much AEW and the championship meant to him. And you could tell it was straight from the heart. And you could tell he was very, very upset about the whole situation. And so that was the opening of Dynamite. Alexia, what did you think of this entire 15-minute block of television? I thought it was great. Like, obviously, like I said, like I mentioned, like whenever MJF came out, like I had like this whole like I'm not really like that thought, but like this like kind of looming like, okay, yeah, something's gonna happen because there's no way like he's just coming out like, as a baby face after being gone this whole time. And even if he like were to do anything like or say anything, like he was still getting cheered, which surprised me a lot because like, he always used to get booed and whatever. But whenever Mox came out and he did that promo, like I was like been by far one of my favorite like spots or segments like AEW has done, just because like you could tell it's very genuine and coming from the heart from him, which I can always appreciate,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. It was nice to hear John. It's nice to see Monty back. It was nice. It was nice.
Connection issues.
Yeah, it's good that John Moxley. What the hell? It's good that John Moxley. What's it called? Cut that promo. I think it was really necessary. It felt like felt very comforting. You know what I mean? It was almost his way of like kind of sharing his disappointment with the fans and going like I know this sucks. You guys know this sucks, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we keep this thing afloat. And it was real. So I thought that was good. Max is talented, man. MJF is really entertaining. He's really funny. He hasn't lost a step in that regard. Of course, it's only been a couple months. Some people made the argument that maybe this was not the week to kind of do the whole like WWE's the real promotion. That's the real place I'm going to. They're the better guys. They're the real bosses. What do you think about that, AO? The idea that Max probably shouldn't have done the I'm going to WWE bit this week.
Yo, I'm not an MJF fan. It got nothing to do with the whole WWE. The Reddit humor, that shit sucks, bro. Do some real fucking heel work, bro. Like, I don't think. What the fuck is that noise?
Sorry.
I don't think MJF could hold a candle to Jay White, bro. I feel like Jay White's the real top heel in the business type shit. So like all this shit you guys fawn over of MJF doing, I'm going to Triple H, it's my best friend. Like that shit sucks, bro. Like, come on, my little sister could think of some shit like, not even my little sister, because she's a grown one. My nephew is 6 weeks old. He could fucking think of some shit like that. Like, come on, bro. This shit. I'm not entertained by MJF, bro. He's talented. I don't think he's entertaining. Get that nigga out of my face, bro. Let him go to WWE. I don't really care. Mox coming out, cutting that promo was fucking amazing. Where would AEW be without John fucking Moxley, bro? From the first fucking night that he popped out, right to legitimate
Matt King in 1984 with a $2 super chat. Mox was channeling Tanahashi tonight. Listen, man, he's the reliable guy. You know what I mean? He's the company guy.
Bro, no, that nigga really is the heart and soul of AEW, bro. Even more so than the elite at this point. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that, nigga. I'm an elite dick rider. Pause. But he right up there with them. Like John Moxley, probably one of the most important people in eight. Because like what if Mox wasn't there to like steer the ship and like tell everybody like, oh no, everything's gonna be all right, and I'm here. I'm not going on vacation and shit, and I'm gonna hold shit down. You feel me? Like, I think it was a good segment. MJF, take it or leave it. I don't care that he's back. I'm not an MJF fan. Don't really care to see him do anything. But yeah.
All right, well, so that was the opening of Dynamite, and we went right into the trios championship match, which was Death Triangle versus the Best Friends, and a very spirited match. These guys did a bunch of athletic, creative moves with each other, and like we alluded to earlier, at least for me, and I can't speak for anybody else, but I just kind of it was hard to like spiritually invest in what I was watching because of the situation. The situation, the announcement, everything. It was just all kind of like a lot at once, and I was just kind of in a state of shock, But I thought it was a great match, and I think Death Triangle being the trios champions is the correct decision. Pac is a sensational wrestler, as is the Lucha Brothers. So kudos to them. Monty, what did you make of this trios match? Do you have anything to say about it?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought
Yeah.
Death Triangle is a nice choice to step in as trios champions while the Elite are away, because you know that you're going to get great matches out of them. Yeah, man, they all bring something a little bit different as well, all three members. And yeah, man, it was a good match. I don't think it was anything blow away. They hit a really good finishing stretch. But yeah, I thought it was a very good match. Yeah, man. Probably, yeah. A very, very good match. But I can see why people like yourself were kind of in a trance.
I was in a trance.
Yeah, I never thought in a million years that Death Triangle was going to win the match because fucking Pac's ass refuses to move back to the States and shit. So he got flying whenever he can fly in. I know like Corona, like pretty much everybody's done with that shit, but like he still doesn't come in every week. So I was like, are we really gonna go from the Elite to Best Friends? And I like the Best Friends, and I wouldn't mind if the Best Friends was trio champs one day down the road. But you can't go from the Elite to Orange Cassidy and Chucky T got the belts now. Like, no, nigga, no. The Death Triangle was a great choice. I fucking love Death Triangle. I love seeing them like get, because for a long time people was like, when are they gonna get the tag belts? For a long time people was like, when is Pac finally gonna get some gold? Now Pac got
see how Jack Penta is now as well.
Bro, so what?
You see how Jack Penta's got now?
Yeah, bro. And like it's crazy. No, it's crazy. Like they deserve it, bro. They put in the work. They deserve all the successes they get in AEW, bro. Like I love Lucha Bros. I love Pac. All that shit. Pac's ass just needs to move to fucking the States so he can get a real push. But yeah, I love the match. Good shit.
See, personally for me, I was like very like split because I'm a big Lucha Bros girl. I love Penta and I love Rey Fenix. They're one of my favorites, but also like I feel like Best Friends for me personally has been at least very like solid, very consistent since like the start of AEW. Like they've always just kind of been there. Like I feel like they were also like a safe choice to rely on. Like, either way, like I still won. Like I love both teams. So like for me, it was just like, it was still, I guess, the fact that they just went so fast to the match that I was still kind of in a shock. It took me like the first 5 minutes of the match for me to like actually be like, oh, okay, this going on and stuff, But I will be pushing my United Empire agenda. They need to come back. I mean, they did disqualify that triangle in the first round, so I do believe that should be a match that occurs down the line once again,
Well, so then
nice.
There you have it. Mark Davis, Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay. If you ever happen to catch at least this moment of the WrestlePurists podcast, Alexia would love to see you guys wrestle Death Triangle again. For the Trios Championship. And I think we'd all like to see that again because the first match was great. So there you go. The follow-up to this match, if I'm not mistaken, was Toni Storm in a championship eliminator match with Penelope Ford. Does anybody have anything to say about this?
Yo, did you see how they was like subtly burying Thunder Rosa that entire segment?
No. Tell me about it. What happened?
So they were. I made a tweet about it. Let me go and read the tweet. And if you go back and you watch it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So I tweeted, notice how commentary keeps talking about how respectful, professional, and business-oriented Toni Storm is. It's almost like they're saying the last champion, and then I said phone disconnects. Like, bro, like, they're just like, I've never heard them talk about anybody. Like, they were just like, oh my gosh, she's just about her business. She's just so business-oriented. She's just so respectful. She's such a professional, such a real like leader in the back, like saying a whole bunch of shit like that. I'm just like, damn, like they
can I be honest? Can I be honest real quick?
What's up?
Commentary for the early parts of the show, it felt like WWE, and the way I can explain it is that it almost felt like in multiple ways they were overcompensating because of the situation, and so it resulted in them, it's their job, they had no choice, but it felt like they were like lying to me repeatedly and or pushing company narratives in a way that AEW doesn't really do, but WWE does a lot. So, for example, the show starts and like Taz is like cheesing harder than he's ever cheesed in his life, and like he's just like, "Oh man, I'm hyped. This is great. Yeah, AEW, man, whoa!" Like it's just like, "Yo, like just, bro, we know what's going on. Like it's cool. Let's just get And he was just kind of like again, like he was like another point, like in the early points, he's like, "Oh man, this is great, man." It's like, all right, bro. Like I get it. They told you guys to be happy, but. And it's fine. This is like a nitpick, and like really, they're just doing their job. But it was just mildly grating to me because it felt disingenuous. And what AO was explaining here, it feels almost like an extension of it. It almost feels like when they tell Michael Cole, like, all right, put over this person's professionalism because we're mad at this person, regardless of how you feel about Thunder Rosa. So that's just something because it's relevant to the conversation. That's something that I just noticed early on. It kind of got normal as the show went on, but early on, it just kind of felt like commentary was like lying to me, and it was just kind of awkward. But that's kind of all I have to say about the match. Does anyone else have anything else they want to say about this women's eliminator match with Toni Storm and Penelope?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a solid match. I love women's wrestling, so I'm gonna be biased regardless. But I think Toni as interim champ was like a really good decision. On that end, so I'm excited to see her reign at her next opponents.
The women's division definitely. Go ahead, Monty.
Penelope Ford coming back and immediately losing twice on TV isn't, it's a nice spot for her to get in and still be used on TV because people like her and she's she can go out there and she can have a match and. But,
well, I'm confused, Monty. Are you saying that you don't like that she came back and lost twice? Or are you saying that?
I'm just thinking, I don't know, man. It's just a bit of a weird one,
Loki, this why, because Penelope.
I'm not saying push her or anything like that. I'm just saying.
No. I understand. But the thing is, Penelope before she's like where she can work and people like her.
Penelope.
But she's never gonna be fucking AEW Women's Champion. Probably never going to be
I'm not saying
right? So it's like if we put her on TV, people like her. People like looking at Penelope Ford and shit, and she can put on a decent match, and we could beat her. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that's a good position for her to be in. So her coming back and losing twice, I don't think it's a big deal, especially since one of them was on Rampage. Because nobody's watching Rampage.
That was even shorter as well. I don't know, to be honest.
Like, what's the alternative? We put Penelope Ford on TV. Who can we have her beat? Sky Blue? then we have a fucking Penelope Ford versus Sky Blue matches on TV. Like nobody wants that shit, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't
go that far.
I don't know much to say about that. To me, Penelope Ford is just kind of pigeonholed where she is, where it's just like she's there to be there and lose matches.
I think it's because it's how insignificant her coming back after quite a long while feels, because she loses the matches, cool, but it's almost like somewhat dismissive. Do you know what I mean? I think it was Athena, the last match. She lost that in like 3 minutes. And yesterday was good until it wasn't. Like the finish looked like shit. But you know, you get what you get. And definitely to Ayo's point, like I'm not saying run Penelope Ford versus Sky Blue matches just to give Penelope wins. But I think my point is just kind of how insignificant it's felt having her back, you know. Yeah, but overall the match was all right. Like I said, it was pretty good until it wasn't. But yeah, man, Tony as interim champion is probably the smart choice, being as reports have suggested that she was going to beat Thunder Rosa anyway. The Thunder Rosa situation is very weird.
Quick breaking news. For today's NFL opener, The Rock appeared at SoFi Stadium to cut a promo, and they played his theme song. SoFi Stadium is the home of WrestleMania next year, and so, you know,
interesting.
Just tossing it out there. Dwayne Johnson, who a lot of people think is going to be facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania next year in California, appeared in that same venue for the NFL to cut a promo. So just tossing it out since it just happened.
I got $100 on the Rams. Money line.
Who are they playing? I'm still out of the loop. Who are they playing?
Yeah, they're all the NFL tour. You got a Brit on the screen. Fuck all that shit, bro. We're doing a Dynamite review.
What's next on?
My God, it's 1:30 a.m. in the UK. I'm not here to do NFL tour.
Listen,
what's next on? What's
Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page had a tremendous match on TV, free television, pay-per-view quality match. I'm not even sure this is the very next thing on the show, but it feels like it was. The next important thing, frankly, after some backstage bits and promos, and they went back and forth. They went back and forth. They stiffed each other really hard. It was a really hard hitting match, and ultimately, Bryan Danielson hit the Busaiku knee, and he got a quick one on Hangman Page, and he advanced to the next round of the tournament.
Yo, when did Danielson decide he was going to start ending matches with the Busaiku knee again? Because like at the beginning of AEW, he made it a point to like never end a match with it.
I have a theory, Ao. I think since his return from the concussion, he's re-implemented more Daniel Bryan into his wrestling. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, whether it's the long hair or the implementation of the running corner drop kicks, which he was not doing in every match. He did in some of them. There's just a lot of things he's doing in matches now that's very much what Daniel Bryan did in matches, and the Busaiku knee comes with that. I thought straight up the match with Hager was literally a match he would have had with Hager on a Raw episode in his peak in WWE. So it's just something I noticed.
Yeah, Danielson.
Anyways, what do you guys agree with the result, and what did you guys think of the match? We'll start with Alexia.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Do you agree with the result of the Danielson Hangman match?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And what did you think of the match itself?
The match itself, I thought it was great. I feel like Hangman and both Danielson, they both give like really solid matches. Like they're someone who can actually like work pretty well. Yeah. But for me personally, I feel like it was the correct choice. Like Danielson should have 100% won, even though I love Hangman. Like I love him, but I would have to go over Danielson with this one.
Mm-hmm. I think before I turn it over, I think it's cool that we had a matchup with such high-level upper-tier talents just randomly on a Dynamite. I know, like, usually they want to build to things like that, but I think it's nice sometimes to just kind of just do something like this out of the blue. Like, it was a really pleasant surprise. Like, holy crap! Like Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page are just going to wrestle on Dynamite. And yeah, generally you do want to kind of try to draw money and pay-per-view and build these types of things, but I think it's also nice sometimes to just say, like, hey, this guy's a top-tier guy, that guy's a top-tier guy. We're going to just let them wrestle on the show, and there's going to be a clean finish. Instead of overly always, worrying so much about, oh my God, we got to protect this guy, we got to protect that guy, we got to do an interference or this and that. They just wrestled, had a great match. Hangman lost, and I think because it was a clean loss, it almost
he wanted to roll up.
Yeah, and he just which is a wrestling move, and frankly, I don't think it diminishes. Yeah, and I don't think it diminishes Hangman. He just lost. He was the better man for that night. Go ahead, Ao.
Danielson's never beaten Hangman before, so that's fine. Hangman loses so fucking much now, man.
Does he?
I hate it, bro.
Does he really?
He loses. What's the last time he won a big match?
He hasn't had them.
I don't remember his matches
because he loses them all, bro.
I can't remember.
Ever since he lost the title, he beat Silas Young, Dave. He beat Finlay, and then he done nothing. And then the trios tournament, which he was only in the final four, which he lost, but obviously he lost. He hasn't done anything.
Hold on. I'm about to go to this cage match right now.
I think honestly, it's just Finlay and Silas Young since he's dropped the belt. Like, it's crazy, bro.
So he lost to Danielson. He lost to the Elite. He lost to. Hold on. He lost the Royal Rampage thing, which is whatever. He lost the IWGP World Title match. He lost. Then he lost to CM Punk. Bro, all he does is lose, my nigga.
And that's okay. I still love him.
He hasn't had a singles match other than Silas and Finlay since
Yes, no wonder. See,
until last night, of course.
That's why I said I don't remember his last.
That's crazy, bro.
I don't think it's a big deal or anything. I'm not saying he's getting buried or none of that.
Oh no, of course not.
It's so hot. He could get heated up in a second. I'm just saying, like, he just loses so. I hate to see my nigga lose, but it was a great match. Loved it. Free television, pay-per-view quality match, all that shit.
Yeah.
It was announced for Rampage that Sammy Guevara will be facing Darby Allin, and we got a bit of a pre-tape for that. Yeah, and that's a tournament matchup. Yeah, they've had a number of matches in the past, and they have really good chemistry. So that's a good one for that show. Also announced for Rampage was Dax Harwood versus Claudio Castagnoli. Which
Dax Harwood, I have information that will lead to his arrest.
But why are you doing this bit again?
I'm just saying.
Let it out, bro. Like, we're not.
If I'm not mistaken, it's for the Ring of Honor Championship, and Dax is a bald man who can wrestle his ass off, and Claudio Castagnoli is a bald man who can wrestle his ass off.
Dax gives a bad name to bald men everywhere. We do not. He's not part of our community,
and so this is going to be great. Because they're great wrestlers, and this is on paper. This is the best looking Rampage lineup in a long time.
TK said he was going to fix it.
Yeah, and
TK said I'm gonna fix Rampage.
I'm glad because Rampage has been glorified elevation on television. I'm
sorry, Israel. I feel like I exposed your DMs a lot, but the shit you be saying be so fucking funny. Israel said Penelope Ford and the Bunny aren't the same person. I thought it was, and she just changed her name.
That is hilarious.
Israel's so funny. I love her.
Yeah, no,
Israel, you're a queen.
Israel, you are a queen.
Anyone see any of this on Twitter earlier?
Yeah. Apparently, UFC had a altercation or something.
Yeah, they did.
That's standard practice and procedure for UFC.
Appreciate the super chat, by the way, Bam. Here we are. Oh, AO. We got this is nice. Limitless Club, $5. I just want to thank AO for always making my days better with the spaces and podcast. You are an amazing personality, man.
Oh. Hey, man, genuinely, that means a lot to me. I appreciate it, bro. Shout out to you.
Absolutely. So, with that said, Monty, is there anything left besides the main event before we get right into this?
Wardlow.
Yeah, that's right. Wardlow squashed Tony Nese, and he cut a promo afterwards, basically saying like, people on the internet are saying I lost momentum and stuff, and I'm here to remind everybody I'm still him, and I'm going to remind everyone that this is Wardlow's world. We talked a bit about Wardlow and his limitations as a performer and what they can do about that. But
I just think, I think when you've got that look, you see when you've got a look like Wardlow,
yeah.
When we say limitations, like, what do we mean? Like, he's not going to go out there and wrestle like Omega, like, of course not. But for a big guy, bro, we can go. Like, do you know what I mean? It's because it's AEW and the standard in ring is so fucking high, and obviously people circle Wardlow as like a future world champion, a future big player. And obviously, then comes the worries of, is Wardlow going to be able to have the 4.5-star, 5-star matches that deserve to be in AEW events, because that's what the fan base is grew accustomed to. But
I'm not saying
I'm personally
super worker or anything. I'm just saying it's just like, I don't know, bro. Jake Hager be doing his thing when he get Jake Hager be out there
what?
doing.
Are we doing
him
this?
Hager?
But my thing with Wardlow is if you just how I mentioned him in my little short list of people who I'd focus on now that there's some spots that are freed up. It's like Meltzer and Brian were talking about potentially just completely pulling the trigger on him, put the belt on him in the next couple of months. And you could probably get a good reign out of it, honestly, if you just make him wrestle like Danielson, Hangman, just put him in there with absolute beast in-ring workers. I'm not sure how that would work in like how it would work booking-wise and storyline-wise, but I think AEW have that many good people that Wardlow could have great matches with, even though he's not an elite worker like a Danielson, an Omega, a Hangman, even a Moxley. I think you could still do something with it, man. I really do. I feel like the limitations in Wardlow's game can sometimes be a little bit overstated. I don't know why AO was completely like AO was talking about Jake Hager.
That's just crazy. This is mad crazy.
Is him Hager a better worker?
Jake Hager's last 2 matches are with Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson, and now AO's talking about this guy like he's freaking.
Hey bro, go watch the tape. Go watch the tape. That match he had with Eddie Kingston.
It's tricky, bro.
Crazy.
That's what AO always says.
Him Hager, I'm just saying, bro. Next January 6th round, you might see me there with Hager.
This is crazy.
You're insane.
That's insane.
You're insane.
He's not serious, and the WrestlePurists podcast does not co-sign that.
The WrestlePurists podcast loves Trump.
This is crazy.
That is not true. That'll never be true.
No.
Jesus, Alexia's like, certainly not me.
Yeah, I can't.
Certainly not me. Yeah.
Edibles is kicking my ass, bro.
AO is mentally descending right now.
I can't cap to you.
Bro, he's getting his
falling apart, bro.
Yeah.
I'll try and find out what was on Dynamite before the main event before we jump straight to it.
I feel like we got everything that was important.
Queens came out.
Go ahead, Alexia. Go ahead, Alexia.
Swerve came out to
reactions,
a lot of cheers, a lot of boos. That when they pulled the trigger on his heel turn, I feel that shit gonna go crazy. They're obviously dropping the belts at a Grand Slam.
I don't know, man.
Actually, I don't know if it's that obvious, but something's happening at Grand Slam.
Can I say something about that? Can I say something about that?
What's up?
We were just talking about spots opening up at the top with the absences of the elite.
Brand the beat goes to talking about
yeah, right. Yeah, but
fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. That I can co-sign. But here's the thing. We talk about spots opening up at the top, right? And it's just like this is an opportunity. There was a couple high-level guys that just kind of had to get pigeonholed in certain spots for the time being because of the congestion in the main event scene. And I think this is a decent opportunity for Swerve and Our Glory to drop the tag belts, and then you kind of go with an ascended heel Swerve singles push, and Keith Lee kind of doing his thing in the singles ranks as well, because Keith Lee is great, and Swerve is really good as well. So, yeah, man. Again, AEW has a really, really deep roster. And so it's
I got a question for you, bro. Are you scared that if Swerve gets pushed to the moon, that he's going to actually never mind? Let me not say that.
Okay.
I'm a DM you, bro.
Sure.
Just the way you started it, I was like, I don't know. The way you started it, I knew you were about to say something. So I was like, wait a minute.
Crazy. Yeah.
It was gonna be shambolic, bro.
It was gonna be
shambolic.
DM it to me.
I read this right now because I want your reaction live.
Okay.
Hold on, let me find
the podcast. I'm nervous.
I'll fill that with a super chat. Andrew the Giant, this was from earlier on. I missed a discourse about women's tag champs being crowned. Good on Hangman sticking to his guns. Lots of folks turning on punks that used to love him. Well, that's what happens when something controversial, divisive, crazy, chaotic happens like this weekend. People pick sides, people switch lanes, people, they get a bit crazy. They get a bit crazy on this Twitter app.
Hey man, people are just at you, bro.
Okay. Nah.
Magician Sapphire says $5. Honestly, keep Wardlow strong and start a program with Andrade until Full Gear. Then have him drop the TNT title to Andrade. I don't know, man. I don't
see. Personally, for me, I know like he's doing that. I don't know if I guess like the feud is over or not with Ricky.
Yeah.
Personally, I would love to see Wardlow and Hobbs feud. Just because I want to see big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with big meaty men slapping meat. Look at Monty celebrating in the corner. Yeah.
Those are the matches. Those are the matches that we're going to start.
That's what I want. I need that
at the WrestlePurists territory. When we start it up.
Meat bumping, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, you're a maniac. Yeah, I'm glad there wasn't any overt like they didn't like make it seem like MJF was part of Stokely's crew. I love Stokely as a talent. I'm not really sure what's going on with this collection of guys that they put him with. I'm not really sure where that's going. But it didn't seem like Max was linked to them. So the hope that I have that is still kept alive is that he just paid them for their services rather than he's in a stable with them.
Yeah.
So that's yet to be determined, but I hope that's what we're doing.
100%.
But with that said, guys, West Side Gun showed up last night, and he performed for Daniel Garcia. His last appearance on Dynamite was the same show that Kevin Gates was on. Actually, funny enough, it was the week after Swerve and Our Glory won the tag titles, and Kevin Gates was there, and West Side Gun was ringside, and the commentary didn't really make a big deal about it. They didn't really point him out. They didn't make a graphic for him, and a number of people, not just myself, but a number of people kind of noted that was kind of weird. That like they kind of no-sold him, and I tweeted about it, and it clearly Daniel felt the same way and wanted to make right on that, which is why he got the live performance in Buffalo. And I thought that whole thing was super, super cool. It was really cool that these young wrestlers got to main event Dynamite. It almost felt like a statement to a degree. Like it was like, you know what, listen, there's a lot of shit going on, but we have so many talented people, so many young wrestlers. And here's a glimpse of what the future of AEW looks like. And it's very positive. Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta had a match yesterday. And it was, you could say so many different things. And I'm sure Alexia has so many superlatives that she's ready to unleash on YouTube. And perhaps maybe not suitable for YouTube. But the way I see it, this was beautiful, Monty. It made me happy. I think that even though Danielson and Hangman maybe was the best match of the night, it's really close actually. This was the most important match of the show by a country mile. This is like a key pivotal moment in Daniel's career. It's very important that AEW did this. And it was my type of thing, frankly, Monty. I think the duo of Daniel and Yuta is really cool. It's one of those like dynamics that like you want to keep seeing them wrestle. Like you don't get tired of it.
You're wrestling soulmates.
Yeah, really. There is such thing as wrestling soulmates. They definitely exist. And I think when you just click with that one person, not to sound cheesy, you really can fight forever and wrestle for years to come. And it becomes like a generational rivalry that people really get excited for. And this is not going to be the last time that they wrestle, and nor should it be. This is just another chapter. And it's very reminiscent to me, Monty, when I look at these two guys and someone like Lee Moriarty. It's very reminiscent of the days of like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and, Chris Benoit and people like that, where it's a collective of really, really talented technical wrestlers who just wrestle each other over and over again in different promotions. And it's one of those things that they take that match of place to place to place. And now, Garcia and Yuta are on the main stage. And
yo, Hangman, is this your brother?
What do you say?
Young.
What did he say in the chat?
Hangman is a mark. Get off Punk Meatloaf, bro. Is that your brother?
No comment.
I'm fucking.
Hey Monty,
boy.
somebody in the comments wants to know, what do you think about United Empire? Do you think they're cool?
What do I think of United Empire?
Oh boy.
Why do I feel like I'm getting set up right now?
Oh boy.
I'm just asking.
What do you think of United Empire, man?
What do you think about them? Personally, for you, he asked specifically for you, for your opinion. Montel, WP.
Oh boy.
I feel like I'm getting set up, but I think they're tremendous.
Okay.
You know, I think they're tremendous.
Okay.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah, that's good.
That's the right answer.
Will Ospreay is transcendent. He's a ridiculous athlete. He's like the most athletic person in pro wrestling.
Will Ospreay's you know, we it's very easy to pick a guy from a US promotion, but Will Ospreay definitely has a very, very legitimate shout of being the best wrestler in the world right now. Wrestler of the year, etc., whatever you want to call it.
I don't think he's not wrestler of the year just because of the shit that Mox has been doing, but he's definitely the best wrestler alive right now.
Bro, Ospreay's match record this year, bro. Like, you can put it next to Moxley's. I'm telling you, bro, it's crazy.
It's pretty
insane. And some of the carry jobs as well have been like outrageous.
And there's a number of them because the guy wrestles at Revolution Pro, you know. So like
Rev Pro.
Yeah,
Rev Pro matches, bro.
It's literally him industry planting.
About how y'all be disrespecting my Nigerian brother Michael Oku. I'm not gonna do it today. I'm not gonna do it today.
I'm not gonna talk.
But to wrap up on United Empire, the new UE in wrestling.
Friend of WrestlePurists podcast, by the way. Well, friend of Big AO. I don't think he fucks with y'all because y'all fucking.
Look at this.
They fuck me for.
Monty, I want to know, what do you think about the Queen dying? Oh boy!
Do you know I've been asked this by about 3 people outside of the UK today. Which is hilarious. Honestly, like when it comes to the royal family and stuff like that, like people of my generation, I'm 25, so like anyone my age younger, like no one cares. We don't know them. You know what I mean? Like nobody like knows what the Queen was like. Like we didn't grow up watching the Queen give like speeches in the Middle Age and stuff. So there's like no attachment whatsoever. Whereas like my mum was kind of, you know, she was like, oh, that's a shame, but like she wasn't crying or anything like that. But
Big AO's take on the Queen is rest in peace, you fucking bozo. You colonized my people for generations. Obosi Kwenu, Naja Kwenu. I'm Nigerian. Great Britain colonizers for I don't even know how long, but you know, rest in peace. You're in hell right now. Your son can eat a dick. He a pedophile. What else?
Royal family slander on the wrestling
podcast. AO, you can add it to the title like AO shoots on royal family.
That's all I gotta say. Fuck the royal family. Fuck Great Britain. Fuck every British person I ever met. Hold up.
Hold up. Charlie, does this pertain to you?
I have so much family in London. I'm kidding. This is a little joke.
199 Nakajima in the States this year. You see him on Dynamite. I don't know.
No, not
at the minute, bro.
So
he needs to go take classes or some shit.
He needs to go to therapy.
Nakajima and fucking and CM Punk need to go into therapy together.
Oh my god.
Well,
listen, I don't think in the state that AEW's in right now, Tony's gonna want to bring in a guy who his last wrestling appearances he's literally
knocks Lee Moriarty out cold, middle of the ring.
Nakajima versus Roosh.
Unless this psychopath Bryan Danielson is just like Tony, it would make me feel things physically in my body.
Disgusting.
If I fought this guy,
I fucking love Nakajima, bro. He's one of my 10 favorite wrestlers.
Honestly,
there's something going on with him, bro. You need your shit together.
For anyone that doesn't know, because obviously, you know, we have a few people viewing it. Nakajima, he wrestles for Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. Obviously, Noah is known for having a very stiff style. Nakajima, on 2 separate occasions in like the past month, has shoot KO'd people.
3 separate cases.
By
And he's a
accident.
shoot
One
fighter.
of them was a straight up kick to the head. The other one was a palm strike. Both were pretty ugly.
And it's not like it's not a whoopsie daisy. I messed up. Like no, he's
out cold.
He's a mixed martial artist.
I'm gonna do this. Like,
he's a legitimate fighter who just happens to also wrestle. So like he's knocking these people out on purpose.
He's also unfortunately a fucking tremendous wrestler.
I fucking love Nakajima, bro.
Monty, the funny thing about this is we're talking about this. I literally genuinely believe that Bryan Danielson is psychotic enough in this state with this reputation to still be like, I'll wrestle him.
Yeah, he would 100%. He would get kicked out of it. It'd probably end his career, but he'd get kicked out.
It would literally like he would be stiff wrestling this man. Like so, yeah. But to wrap up, because I never listen, Alexia. United Empire are a great stable. Ospreay is great, and shout out to Fletcher and Davis. They're a hell of a tag team in their own right. You know what I mean? They're a hell of a tag team. So shout out to them.
They're really fucking good.
Yo, we need Young Yang said no brothers in the attorney. What's going on, TK? Yo, tell your brother to chill.
Put him up. What do you say? Put him on the
screen. We got super chat up on the screen.
What's going on?
Wait, hold on. Kimo Sabi, $2. Ayo, react to TK shouting out Corny with Rampage tweet. Did he shout out Cornette with his Rampage tweet?
Someone read me the tweet because I genuinely don't know what he said.
Did he actually shout out Cornette?
But my overall take on TK and this whole Cornette situation, without being hyperbolic, is TK putting over Cornette and allowing Cornette to say these things that not allowing him to say, but hearing the shit that Cornette says about his EVPs, laying his slide, giving Cornette compliments on the backhand, and being like, oh, Cornette taught me everything that I know about wrestling, whether he likes it or not, complimenting Cornette, putting him over. It led to moments like this. If he did that shit in the butt from the moment that it happened, if he was like, bro, if you not fucking with my people, I don't fuck with you. If he did that from the moment that any of this, none of this would have ever happened. FTR wouldn't feel like they could just run around sucking Cornette's dick all fucking day. CM Punk wouldn't be doing fucking inside Cornette jokes on Dynamite and shit with the pocket shit is whatever. I don't care about that. But I'm just saying, like, TK fostered this environment where people felt like they could disrespect the elite.
You know what it is, and this is going to lead to a broader point that's going to circle us back on topic to the main event. The way I see it, Monty, I think that what's really the crux of some of this issue generally is that the two camps, whether it's CM Punk and his guys and the elite, I think that they're having a power struggle and the fight is over Tony Khan's ear in terms of the direction of AEW, because I think they all like the promotion, but I think that they have different visions of pro wrestling, just as Cody did with the previous EVPs, and they're trying to steer it in that direction. And I think whether it's one side trying to take AEW towards Reseda-ism, and the other side trying to take it towards Reseda-ism, and then there's the other side that's trying to take AEW towards Crocketism. And it's a power struggle, and you could tell Tony is a fan of both, and I think that's a product of the fact that he's such a longtime fan who's seen everything, and he thinks both types of wrestling are awesome in their own rights, and so clearly, for the Reseda-ism, and so clearly Tony was trying to play to both sides and just kind of let them both do what they want to do on the show, but clearly it was a power struggle and a philosophical struggle, and frankly, in that philosophical struggle, I'm sure Tony probably does in some way, shape, or form understand the perspective of Jim Cornette, and that perspective is also probably shared, obviously, in a probably less toxic and pointed way by an FTR or a CM Punk or certain guys like that. And I'm sure Tony's like, yeah, man, like, let's draw money, let's have heat, let's have these angles, let's do this, let's do that, let's work the right way, let's blah blah blah. And at the same time, Tony's probably like, nah, man, multi-man tags and all this cool shit is awesome too, and blah 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 blah. And I think it's really interesting, Monty, that we had Reseda-ism versus Crocketism, and it ultimately resulted in the leaders of these movements being suspended. And what we have in its wake is a tournament that's probably that has a chance to end with Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. And when you look at it, what was the beginning of their storyline about? the future of professional wrestling in AEW and what's the right way to take AEW. And so it's really interesting that, in this fight over who earns Tony's ear, what we have left are the two guys that all along have been just trying to lead AEW in a certain direction.
Lead them by example.
And so maybe the answer wasn't Rosita-ism, and maybe it wasn't Crockett-ism. Maybe what it really is, and we saw a glimpse of it tonight, was whatever you want to call this, Bryan Danielson-ism.
William Regal.
Genuinely, one of my biggest issues with wait, what the fuck is going on with my sound? With WWE, right? Is everybody wrestles the same. Everybody does the same holds. Everybody does the same suplexes. Everybody does the same belly. Everybody does the same shit, right?
Yeah.
In AEW, there was a whole bunch of styles. Like fucking Cody Rhodes was doing his NWA cosplay. The Young Bucks was on their Rosita shit. Kenny Omega was doing his New Japan shit. Everybody, it was a whole mixed bag, and that's how it should be. Like people worry about yourself. Get your shit off. Stop worrying about what other people are doing, bro. Like styles makes fights. Like I don't want to see an entire NWA episode. I don't want to see an entire PWG Young Bucks fest and shit because Private Party could try. I love Private Party, but if they just tried to be the Young Bucks, it's just gonna come off horrible because you're not the Young Bucks, bro. Blake Christian, you're not Will Ospreay, bro. So they're just like, dude, like work to your strengths and shit. Like everybody, you can't make a whole promotion be like, no, this is what we're doing now. Because it just comes off bland and boring and terrible. Nobody trying to see that shit.
I think that's well said, AO. To me, the variety of AEW, its versatility is a massive strength. And the best wrestling products to me are the ones that have so much to offer. I mean, WCW in its peak, you had the cruiserweights, you had the luchadors, you had the guys who were technical wrestlers, you had guys in the mid card who worked completely differently, and just top to bottom, it's a product where like
then you had fucking Kevin Knight, fucking jackknife powerbombing motherfucker.
Kevin Nash, yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. It's like you said with WWE, they're trying to reverse that now, but for the longest time, it's like every Raw match is the same structure. You know what I mean? It's like babyface.
Yo, hey man, I think I hate your brother, bro. Wait, trolling me. This nigga trolling me, and it's starting to work. So.
Hold on, someone read his comments. I'm not seeing it. Put it up on the screen.
Which ones, bro?
Any of them? I haven't seen any of them.
He probably sent in a super chat earlier. You read it out.
I think I hate this nigga, bro.
Read
nah, because the last one that just triggered me is that this nigga was like, "Free Miro, nigga." Like, nigga, shut your ass up, nigga.
There's this one as well from earlier.
Yeah, no, like, no brother's an attorney. What's going on?
I'll tell you right now, you don't want to. If you gave that man a mic, he'd be a freaking menace, bro. He would terrorize so many people. Like y'all think like you can be above trolling and you could tank certain things. I don't. He would make almost everybody in here break. But yeah, nah. Tony got no cojones.
Oh, fucking word.
That's crazy. Listen, but anyways, Regalism, whatever you want to call it, Fujinami-ism, Dynamite Kid-ism, that's Bryan Danielson's vision of pro wrestling. And it's a subjective medium, but it's a vision that I very much agree with. I legit had to delete one of his comments. Oh boy. Why? What did he do? Jesus Christ. But yeah, so the main event was awesome. Yuta Garcia, crowd was real into it. Garcia's a Buffalo boy. They were chanting like "Let's go Buffalo," and these guys were going at it. And I think one of the biggest accomplishments is it was technically a pure rules match, even though they didn't work it like a pure rules match. And the crowd was into it, Twitter was into it, seemingly everybody that watched the show was into the match. Which is cool because sometimes technical wrestling can be a bit divisive and can be a bit, dicey in terms of is everybody going to get into it. So kudos to them. They got their match over. It was great. Garcia got a big moment in his hometown and he won the Pure Championship. I love this main event. I thought it was special, to be honest with you. And it was a special moment, and Bryan Danielson walking out, crowning him and giving him his belt, tying it around his waist and having him shake the hands of the man he beat. That whole piece of business was beautiful, and I think it made story sense, but I think it was also symbolic, Monty. It almost felt like Danielson kind of trying to
100% was.
So I got a question. A question. So, do we still think that Garcia is going to join the BCC, and do you want that to happen? / do you think it needs to happen?
Alexia. I can't hear her.
We've lost her.
We can't hear you, Alexia.
We've lost you, Alexia.
Hello?
Yes.
There she is.
Okay, I accidentally turned off my mic. Just
Okay.
like started to talk.
Yeah.
I said for me personally, I mean, obviously, like a part of me does want Garcia to go to like BCC just because that's like I feel like that's like already like a really good stable,
Right.
and he would fit in. But at the same time, it's like I don't know, I don't really like see him in the Jericho Appreciation Society for a little bit longer. So, but I would kind of like the idea of him just kind of like going off on his own, but still like getting like advice and like being like Brian being like his mentor, which would be cool because I don't know, I feel like that would just fit him.
Yeah, the way I see it, Monty, William Regal gave his opinion, which was that he wants Yuta to have really good talent to kind of sharpen him up by.
Besides that, about every single person, anyone in the Combat Club wrestles.
In my opinion, I think it would be kind of an interesting dynamic if they still had a really heated rivalry while being in the same team. Like if they continue to just wrestle each other while being under the same banner, while Danielson just kind of watches them fight amongst each other as rival students, is a really
you have Danielson in one corner and Mox in the other corner or something.
Not even that. Just him literally presiding over these two, just grappling and being rivals and being competitive. And I mean, it's not like WWE where they do like kind of segments and bits in different locations too much, but could you just imagine a bit where like they're like working out in like some type of gym or some type of judo place or something, and Danielson just kind of says, I gotta be honest with you, Yuta, Garcia's kind of passing you up here, and he's like really pissed at him saying that. Like just imagine that.
Youngest.
There's some allegations going on against Hangman in the chat right now. You're adopted, little bro?
Wait, what are you saying?
Young DA says you're adopted.
Just put the comment up. Put the comment up. What are you saying? Hangman is adopted. That's crazy. That's mad crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna address these allegations? You're not going to deny?
No, I'm not. Hey, what do you think of his profile picture?
His profile picture fire, bro. Shout out to One Piece.
Yes, sir. Listen, so yeah, man, I wouldn't mind if he joined the stable and continued to just be just as much of a competitive presence against Yuta amongst under the banner of Danielson. I wouldn't mind that. For those who maybe it's a work.
I'm weak.
For this guy, he's just turned into a shit poster. For those who remember this, Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle were tag team champions on SmackDown in 2002.
They hated each other, right?
They hated each other in every segment, literally every segment. It turned into them like literally starting to knock into each other and like grapple on the floor because they were so competitive. And you'd have these matches where they'd be like, I'm gonna tap this guy out in 2 seconds, and it's like, watch what I do tonight. And they'll have singles matches on the show, even though they're the tag champs, and then they'd also defend the tag titles. So I think it'd be a really interesting dynamic. Frankly, the more I say this, I'm kind of talking myself into wanting to see Yuta and Garcia win the Ring of Honor tag team championships while being extremely competitively, just like really competitive with each other.
Yeah, I literally had that thought last night, but then I was just like, didn't they just set up the whole Claudio and Yuta thing? But I mean, you could just throw that away. You know what I'm saying? But I had the same thought. That would be fire.
You know what I realized? So Yuta could not beat Bryan Danielson, right? But Garcia did. Now, could you imagine if Claudio and Yuta couldn't beat FTR, but Yuta and Garcia did? And you just have this looming thing where he's just like, bro, it's because
Can't cap to you, bro. Can't have Claudio jobbing the FTR.
We're not going to that.
Bro, it's a tag match at least.
No. I do not care. If they have the entire heel locker room come from the back and jump Claudio while the ref is distracted, and then drag him off to the fucking prisoner Azkaban and walk that nigga away, and then it's just fucking 17-on-1 against Yuta. I cannot have Claudio jobbing the FTR.
Listen, I don't mind. Listen,
I got some bad things, bro.
Yuta could eat the pin, and then listen. Just imagine Garcia is the one who wins the tag belts with him, and he's like, "Bro, this keeps happening because I'm better than you. That's why your master. That's why your teacher took me in. And listen, little bro, I'm gonna help you get better, bro." And Yuta's just like, "Man, fuck you." You know what I mean? I think it could be really entertaining banter and great wrestling that could come from that. So I think that should be considered. To be honest with you, what did you guys think of the main event?
I fucking loved it.
Oh, I thought it was phenomenal. Yeah, I thought it was great. Really good.
Mm-hmm.
You
enjoyed the wrestling, right?
I did. Oh my god, I did. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
The wrestling was really good.
Yeah.
Monty,
love technical wrestling.
Shout out to friend of the show, friend of WrestlePurists.
What were your thoughts when the Boston Crab was transitioning?
I was like, oh my god, a single leg Boston Crab. Yes, I ate it up.
What about when we got a Fujiwara armbar and the shark
one of them too.
Oh man, we had some nice Saito suplexes in there. You know, we had a superplex, a lot of good stuff, right? A lot of great technical wrestling. Yeah.
Great.
Monty. Oh no, wait. Actually, you wanted to shout somebody out.
Did I? Oh no. Oh yeah, no. Shout out to Kyle Fletcher, friend of the WrestlePurists Baddies division.
Yeah.
Type shit. We're gonna get them to get him on an episode.
Yeah, Kyle, just pull up, man.
Pull up.
Yeah, we'll just talk
over, bro.
We'll just talk about bitches. You know what I mean? But I'm playing.
You're not allowed to say that.
I'm sorry. We're gonna talk about pro wrestling.
There you
go. Monty, what did you make of the main event, man? And just the general piece of business of having these two young guys, who Brian Danielson co-signed, main event the show.
Well, no, Israel said, I want Daniel to low bro Yuta and make him his assistant to be on it. Yo, Israel hates Yuta.
Israel just, once she's got an agenda, bro, she hates
Wheeler Yuta.
But, yeah, man. Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia. There's not really too much left to be said about it, but we haven't already touched on already. But, it was a great match. Two truly great young talents. A great moment for Garcia. Great to see him get the entrance as well. The whole scene with Danielson wrapping the belt around him at the end, that was a very nice touch. Really hammered home how much of a moment this was for him. Obviously, it has storyline implications as well with Danielson versus Bryan next week, etc., etc. The match has worked really well. They always do a really great job of making the matches feel like they're actually quite heated between the two.
Yeah,
the technical wrestling's always on point. Yeah, man, they just have chemistry. Like sometimes it's just that simple. They just have set chemistry. Simple as they've done a lot of minutes with each other in the ring now, considering how early they are in both the careers. But yeah, man, they're definitely both ones for the future. Especially Daniel Garcia. He's outrageous. Look,
he is, man.
He's 23, bro. He's outrageous. The progress he's made this year. Even he's always been very good in ring. Ever since the Indies, ever since I imagine when AEW were first looking at him, he's always been very good in ring. You would always hear every now and again about the, an Indian match here and there that he would have, but it'd be great, and you'd check it out, and it would be. And obviously in AEW, we came into AEW, and he's been put in a lot of high profile matches, and people who were unaware of him were kind of questioning it, like, who's this skinny kid from Buffalo sort of thing. Which, it's fair when you kind of get, someone thrown at you on TV like that.
Yeah. It's
a big spot, and it's cool to see that Tony's kind of stuck with the Garcia push and progression over the year or so. And this what happened last night obviously isn't the end of the emergence of Daniel Garcia, but it's a very significant step that he was able to take. But yeah, man, he's brilliant. He's genuinely in the conversation for best wrestler under the age of 25, to be honest.
Absolutely. And I think personally, one of my favorite things about wrestling is seeing young wrestlers actively improving and getting over and raising their level and stuff. It's really like satisfying.
His promos and everything, the way he carries himself, the Jericho Appreciation Society stuff is, I genuinely think, not Jericho, taking him under his wing, mentoring him, whatever you want to call it, just working with him. I think a lot of positives have came with that, definitely, because like I said, the genuine. It's not just because he's getting more high-profile matches and getting wins against people like Bryan Danielson. He's genuinely getting better in-ring promos, the way that he carries himself, everything. He's just getting better at a very, very impressive rate. So
and so that's why I say shout out to him. One thing I want to say about when it comes to pushing young wrestlers, you're not going to make a star overnight. Most times. You are not going to make them big ratings draws overnight. And so, and the Dynamite quarter hours are even out for tonight. Yeah, like Yuta Garcia on a Dynamite to main event the show, there are going to be a number of people that turn the show off. That shouldn't discourage you from halting the pushes of these people, because, at some point you have to spend money to make money. You have to invest. And so that takes a sacrificing. And so you have to educate the audience that these guys are players that are going to be here for years to come, and that they're viable and they're important. And you try to mitigate maybe any losses or damages in terms of ratings or things like that by involving key people, which they have been doing, like Chris Jericho. The fact that a guy of Chris Jericho's stature is co-signing Garcia and fighting over him with Bryan Danielson, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen, that's a big that's big for them. And so again, you make those sacrifices. You do what you do with these guys with the realization that some people are gonna say, "Who the hell is this guy? He's not a star." But the hope is that after a year, they are stars. I support the movement. I support the movement, and in general, there are a lot of wrestlers right now that are really promising in their 20s. Whether it's Yuta, whether it's Garcia, whether it's a Lee Moriarty, who I would like to see kind of re-enter back in the fold.
Yeah,
I want to see more Lee. Whether it's
sad, bro. It's sad because Danielson's promo, he mentioned Lee Moriarty, Daniel Garcia, and Wheeler Yuta. Those are the shit that Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia has been doing since that promo.
We definitely need to get Lee back on track.
And now my nigga Lee Moriarty, he dyed his hair like Frank Ocean. He's running around with Ethan Page, bro. Come on, bro.
My suggestion, Monty, is Garcia clearly found his guy with Yuta, a guy to work with repeatedly that has great matches. What we saw of Lee Moriarty and Dante Martin was very, very encouraging, and I think they should go back to that in-ring dynamic. I know they have him as a part of this Stokely group. Frankly, all Lee really needs is Stokely for his specific segments, and if they were to put him in with guys that he has chemistry with, whether it's a Seidel or a Dante Martin, I think they should just do that and revisit that and reheat him up. Because
I wish it was just Stoke, Lee, and fucking Big Cass.
I wish it was just Stoke and Lee.
But, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying give Lee a fucking heater. You know what I mean?
I don't even
if you want to add people to the stable, just give him a heater. That's it. None of this tag team bullshit. Like,
it is what it is. We'll see where it goes. But again,
it's something. Either way, we just want to see something.
Yeah. So again, those three guys: Yuya Uemura, Braun Breaker.
Yuya.
Yuya's awesome. There's so many guys in their 20s right now that I can. Tyler Bate. Oh my God, he's 25. Tyler. He's 25.
This nigga, Young Niang said, "Brother, Ayo, it's an agenda. Free Lee." You know what, yo, Young Niang. That's why NXT Black and Gold is dead, bro. Rest in peace to that shitty ass brand. I'm happy it's dead, nigga.
Oh my God.
I'm happy it's dead.
The feud of the year, Big AO versus Young Niang. We need Young Niang on the podcast.
No. Because the thing is, me and Young Niang never gonna feud. Because at the end of the day, me and him gonna be on your ass, bro. You gonna think finally these two niggas about to beef? Nah, nigga, we just have to jump.
Let's we'll fly through some last super chats and
sure, yeah. Before we wrap up,
so some of them are pretty old because some of them are kind of things that I think we can kind of elaborate a little bit on, not too much. Okay. Hangman, right? Pro Wrestling Podcast, $5. Thank you. Pipe Bomb was a work, but was still Punk's grievances towards WWE. Why is that considered dope, but the Scrum isn't? He's always been outspoken.
The shortest answer is at WWE we're seen as the heels, and the Elite and AEW are not seen as heels.
That is probably the best. Quicker, obviously, it's a lot more layered, but that is genuinely
Small story
the
short,
pretty
WWE
long
were
and
bad
short
people
of it.
doing bad things. The Elite are presented as good people doing good things that didn't deserve what they got. We don't know these people personally, but that's how it's presented.
Yeah, Samuel Williams, $4.99. Hangman has been in wrestling for over 10 years. He doesn't have to listen to anyone. I very strongly disagree. And it's not because it's Hangman. It could be anyone, and it could be any amount of time. You can always learn and listen.
Bryan Danielson literally said last year in an interview when he was in AEW that he thought his mentality for wrestling was perfect, and then he went to AEW and he says that he feels like he's learning every week.
Yeah, that's fucking Bryan Danielson. You know what I mean? Tiger Style Pro, who does the great edits on Twitter. Punk is probably the reason I like wrestling as much as I do, but the Elite are the reason I'm still a wrestling fan. So right now, with love, fuck that motherfucker.
King.
Talk that shit, Tiger Style.
Yeah, Julian.
This just popped me in the chat. We may not agree on everything on this podcast or in the chat, but we all love wrestling, and I respect that part.
Absolutely.
He's a great subscriber, our friend
so
Pro
much,
Wrestling Podcast.
And
the final one, unless I've missed any extra one, this one is for Alexia specifically.
Wow.
Okay.
From Bam, $5. Alexia, what do you want? What do you want from the women's division in AEW? As Tony said, it's going to change things with them. Thank you, Monty, for starting all this.
Okay. So for me, I'm probably gonna same thing with Anna. I personally would like to see less of Dr.
The dentist.
Britt Baker, the dentist. I personally believe there are the AEW women's division is pretty strong. Sometimes the booking is not all there, but I feel like it's just all together. The same thing how Brian worked with Jade and stuff, just getting more training and helping them actually one-on-one, not just be oh yeah, sandbag, oh yeah, this. I feel like that's kind of overused and tired. I would like to see less of that. Sorry, I got distracted. And just, I guess I do kind of appreciate or like the fact that, it's there, I guess because of the peer pressure on Twitter or whatever, where it's oh yeah, not enough women, people complaining about it and stuff like that. It's finally starting to be okay, maybe we should prioritize just even if it's one or two matches and stuff. I would like to see just no more DMD. Yeah, thank you, Anna.
So aggressive. Anna's so aggressive whenever Britt Baker gets brought up. But...
Yeah, no, Anna's amazing.
I have documents.
Oh my god!
Stop doing
Britt Baker, you are been fucking nice.
Of my good friend,
AO's edible bits needs to be a thing that we ban.
And she tells me frequently how much she loves the Doctor. And I said I was never going to say anything about it, but you know what? I don't really like the vibe of this podcast going on right now. Niggas ain't put me over enough, Hangman. Nigga, you don't be congratulating me enough for my fucking contributions to this pod.
I appreciate all your
You
contributions.
yellow bastard. I don't like the faces you be making every time I got something important to say, bro. I don't like that shit. So you know what? I'm about to burn all this shit down. I'm leaking the DMs. Anna, you secretly a DMD stan. Fucking Alexia, you said you don't even like Kyle Fletcher like that.
Oh no.
Israel said Big AO is my GOAT. Thank you, Israel. I love you.
Oh my god.
Winter was in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if she's still here. Winter, I love you.
What did I do?
Y'all,
Winter, we love you and appreciate
you. And I'm shutting WrestlePurists down, bro. It's over. No more podcasts.
Everyone, because we've got a diva currently going off right now. Show AO some love in the chat.
Yeah, show some appreciation for Big AO.
Yo, I'm about to ask someone Lil Smoke. Are you friends with Hollywood Hangman Adam Pearce?
Big AO is the Mox of this show. That's it. I'm the Mox of this show. Come on. Come on. Acknowledge AO.
Oh, this one's nasty.
Let's see. AO Punk.
AO Punk is nasty.
Yeah. He's opinionated. AO flower.
Peach.
Big AO season fire emoji.
Oh, well, another nasty one.
AO acting like CM Punk. That's crazy. I agree, Anna. Quick side note. Anna is we really appreciate the month, a little over a month or so of contributions that Anna was able to provide for WrestlePurists. It was really, really special, and I appreciate it. And she added such a nice new dynamic to the podcast. We're not going to be able to see her as much for the time being, but she's still so supportive, and we appreciate what she's brought to the podcast. And I just kind of wanted to give her flowers because
the
way that you like.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I had to put my foot down.
The late Anna
DeMarco
was a wonderful.
She's stripped from her responsibilities as a contributor of WrestlePurists.
Anna Purist. That should be a name of a side podcast. Anna Purist.
Anna Purist, yes.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna do Anna Goon, but
Anna Goon,
yes.
That's funny. Yo, real quick. Yo, I realized what you guys meant. It's super obvious that Tony Khan was shouting out Jim Cornette. Yo.
Yeah, he capitalized.
Can somebody read the tweet? I don't know what's going on.
Ao, he said, real quick. Do you know what Cornette, the name of Cornette's two podcasts are? Ao, they are Cornette's Drive Thru and the Jim Cornette Experience. So this is and you know what the main event of Rampage is, right?
It's with Dax and what's his face?
Claudio.
Yeah.
So Tony tweeted, tomorrow's lineup for Friday Night Rampage is a card that any wrestling fan would enjoy, no matter their in all capitalization experience. It'll be a great Friday night, whether you cook, order in, watch your phone at a bar, or hit the drive-through. Don't miss Rampage on TNT tomorrow night.
Yo, honestly, I love AEW. I love AEW. Thank you, Tony Khan, for making me still an American wrestling fan, because if AEW didn't exist, I'd only be watching Nuge and a little bit of Noah. But like, you are a nasty nigga, bro. The way that you suck Cornette's dick is just disgusting. You have to stop this, bro. You have to stop. And like I said, bro, this whole thing was a snowball effect. Like, if he had a no nonsense approach with Cornette and his bullshit from the beginning, none of this would have ever happened, bro. The Dax shit wouldn't have happened. The FTR shit wouldn't have happened. The CM Punk shit wouldn't have never happened. None of it. And now here we are. So you can only blame one person for that, and that's Tony Khan.
People have made. I guess the last question I'm gonna say to you guys, people have made this like insinuation that maybe the elite don't like that, and that it's almost like a vote of no confidence to what they provide to the company. The fact that he kind of like he likes the elite obviously, but he also is kind of like, the guy that hates you really vocally, I like him, and some people suggested straight up, like with this situation and the co-signing and stuff like that, that maybe they should consider looking elsewhere. I know that's a
not gonna leave, but I would understand if
they actually
don't
could,
fuck with Tony Khan. How would you feel, Hangman? How would you feel?
I would just have a conversation with Tony.
You think they've never said anything to him about this?
No, I don't think they have. I think that sometimes in wrestling and certainly in AEW, there's times where people have things that they don't like that bother them, that they just kind of passively aggressively deal with and just kind of ignore and to avoid an issue. I think they've never mentioned it.
Like, this is nasty, bro. We're not talking about they just bury them as wrestlers. Jim Cornette called Kenny Omega worse than Hitler. He called Kenny
I want Cornette arrested.
Bro.
I want him arrested.
No, my God.
Like, this is way beyond wrestling. And fucking and Dax and TK just out here fucking spit shining his shoes and shit. It's nasty, bro. It's nasty.
Tony went from booking for Dave to booking for Jim. That's crazy.
Nasty, bro.
It's crazy.
Bro, we gotta wrap this podcast.
Yeah, we do. Listen, Alexia did awesome in her first ever podcast appearance. I want everybody to once again show her her respect, her flowers, her praise, because this was her debut, and she will certainly be back because she did awesome. Everyone in here, if you could leave chats and then leave a comment on the video when it ends, all interactions help us grow and provide feedback. This will literally keep me up at night. Yo, Isra is so on the ball.
She's professional.
She is a pro.
She is a queen. I love her.
Goes. She's gonna take this to new. She's just so.
Thank you, Isra.
Man, thank you to Isra. Can we get flowers and respect and W's in the chat for Isra, for Anna, for AO, for Monty? I thought this was a good podcast, and I appreciate all you guys.
Nah, but on some real, yeah, but like when it stops streaming, just leave a comment and shit.
Yeah,
shit on Hangman. Talk about how much AO just dunked all over Hangman in the comments. The usual shit start talking about. Which like any interactions will just help us like.
I think you can leave a super thanks and shit like that as well. So I don't know what that is. I know what super chats are, but apparently there's things called super thanks for something.
I
don't know, bro.
Can you tummy ache?
Pardon?
Can you say tummy ache?
Tummy ache. Like I've been saying, I'm trying to start a Twitch, right? And I've been working on Streamlabs, and it's not going great, bro. I don't know what I'm doing. So if you know how to work, Streamlabs, help me out. I'll pay you.
You StreamYard, shit. What are you doing? What? Use StreamYard. No, use what I'm on now. Use what we're on right now.
I can use that for Twitch.
Yeah.
But it's like the widgets and shit that's not working for me. Like I'll set up a widget and it'll be like so and so donated, right? And then I'll make a dummy account and I'll donate to myself, and it just doesn't pop up. So if you know how to use that shit, help me out. I'll pay you. I don't care. Just Streamlabs is easier for newer people. If you know what you're doing, DM me. My ads here. Help a nigga out, bro. Twitch is gonna be mad fun. We just talk about how much we hate AO. I mean, not AO. All day. We fucking love AO.
Yeah, Alexia, have you got anything?
Anna, you said I was a DMD merchant. Anna, I'm so sorry. It's the edibles that did that to me, Queen. I know you would never support that fiend DMD.
Yeah, Alexia, you got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Oh, and follow me on Twitter. And also help me out with these.
Alexia, bro.
Can you let me talk?
I know.
Alexia, the editor it's destroying him. Like he's not on Earth right now.
I'm not.
I know. I can tell.
Yeah, he's.
So I want to say thank you guys for having me. It was really a lot of fun. I guess this is like my first time doing like any sort of like podcast on any kind of platform and stuff. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter if you want. You don't have to. I guess. Yeah. But thank you, Monty and AO and Hangman, I guess, for letting me come on here and talk to you guys. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. We've done 2 hours 37 minutes. Hangman, you got any quick plugs you want to do before I get us out of there?
Just follow me on Twitter at @BackupHangman. It's been another successful. Yeah, just follow me. It's been another successful WrestlePurists podcast. I'm just so good at this, man. Like, just my goodness, show me some love in this chat.
Someone mute. Get rid of him.
Boo this man.
Yeah, just show me some love in the chat. Show me some love in the chat. I put this whole thing together. I created
your flowers are tomatoes in the chat.
I brought this amazing women's division over to the podcast. And I created this platform, so I expect some respect and love in the chat for doing all these things. Greg with the tomatoes, Damien with the tomatoes, Young with the tomatoes. Oh my God!
Thank you guys.
Boo back of Hangman.
It's became MJF without even realizing it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like it's the top heel in the territory.
Josh Allen trick y'all. 2 interceptions already.
That's tough.
No!
Listen, thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, man. Let's get out of here. Let me close it all. Like, subscribe, appreciate all the super chats, especially Oliver for his $49.99 one.
Yo, thank you so much for that.
Thank
bro.
you, Oliver. That was really sweet of
Shout
you.
out Big AO as always, and bringing over his face as he always does. Shout out Hangman for getting the shit kicked out of him like he always does, and of course shout out Alexia for having a great debut. Most of us, this is all our first like podcast appearances like on this channel. Like none of us are professionals or anything. I'm sure that's pretty obvious, but you know we try and we just pop ourselves, and you know you guys come along and you pop with us in the live chat and on Twitter and on Spaces and stuff, and you know we massively appreciate it. We do, and you know follow us on Twitter at WrestlePurists, WrestlePurists.com. Check out a feature. I've got a new feature dropping tomorrow on Moxley's promo, which I'm quite excited to drop. But yeah, man, the same stuff as usual. Like, subscribe, follow us, etc., etc. And yeah, man, peace.